Hello, it is Tuesday, July the 30th, 2019. This is the Giant Bombcast. It's a podcast about video games and only video games.
Only gaming this week.
That's right, nothing else. We're strictly business around here. I'm Brad Shoemaker. Ben Pack is here.
Hello, I'm in the business of video games, and business is video games.
And talking about them. Jan Ochoa.
Yes, business,
games. Down table.
Yep, business simulators, all of that.
Jason A. Striker.
If it's just video games, I'm out of here.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Hi.
Drew Scanlon.
Hi!
Holy shit.
Hello!
World traveler.
Video about video games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, that counts.
Okay,
Prodigal,
good.
Prodigal son?
Nice. Yeah.
You were here, and then you were gone, and now you're back.
Is that what that means?
I guess so.
He came
I
back.
think that has a negative connotation to it.
Does it?
I don't know.
I think so.
Does it?
I don't know.
I think
say
people
it in
just kind of
Twister.
sneer when they say it.
Let's not
Okay.
say that then.
All right.
Whatever.
Friend of the site.
Yeah. Oh, I love being a friend of the site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yes.
I'm a friend of the site.
You're in the site's top 8.
Great.
Oh, sick.
Employee number 5, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Welcome
That's
back.
true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How long is that? Have you? I was
It's
trying
been like
desperately
2.5
to remember
years.
if you have been on this podcast since you left, and I can't remember.
I think I was
maybe once.
soon after
Okay.
I launched
Yes.
Cloth Map.
Yes. Okay, that's right.
So, like,
and even that's been two plus years.
2+ years, yeah.
Good God. Man.
Wow.
If people don't know,
goes fast.
I used to work here. My name's Drew.
Everybody knows you.
Yeah, well, I currently do a video series on YouTube called Cloth Map.
Yes.
It's kind of a travel show, but through the lens of games.
Yeah.
I've recently gotten a pretty good uptick on my Chernobyl series.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, from the show. Which is
A lot
really
of
cool.
interest in that.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Chernobyl.
But we've we went to Brazil to see their weird bootleg Nintendo and Sega consoles, which was super interesting.
Nice.
We went to Cuba to see their how they play multiplayer video games without real access to the internet.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really cool. They basically made like a citywide wireless LAN network with like rebar and repeaters that
Whoa.
they imported through people bringing them in their luggage. That was really wild.
I used to do that with my PSP. I had to.
The rebar?
Yeah.
PSP also contraband.
Build a tower on your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just finished up our Mongolia series.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mongolia's the last place.
Yeah.
You went, right?
It was last place we went, but not the last thing that we filmed. So the Mongolia series was about the traditional, not video games, but games that they play there. They have a holiday dedicated to games. It's like Lunar New Year is the biggest one, and then just below that is the Nadam Festival.
The game holiday.
The game holiday.
Oh, nice.
Wish we have E3, but it's not quite the same. But it's basically like they recreate the games of Genghis Khan, basically. Archery, wrestling, and
The games of Genghis Khan.
It's a lot of
horse
violence.
racing.
Romance of the Three Kingdoms?
Kind of.
How
Like
did
it's
just, excuse me if this is like really base knowledge, but like how do they talk about Genghis Khan? Like how is he?
Oh, he's a big deal in Mongolia.
Yeah, I read somewhere that like a shockingly large percentage of Mongolia is just like in his lineage, just because he was so like
Prolific.
yeah, he was out there doing it in various locations.
There's a
on the
huge
road.
statue of him in the middle of the Capitol.
Okay, so it's not like a villainous.
No, he's like
just
the unifier.
Wow,
He's like
that's cool.
he started the modern Mongol, like in their eyes.
Yeah.
It's big. Like there's actually a fourth game that's kind of like bowling, where they set up the ankle bones of a sheep like 10 feet away, and then they shoot this puck made of deer antler at the bones to try to knock them over. And I was like, oh, this is like a
Like
cool,
stuff
fun
you would do
game.
in middle school, like paper
Yeah,
football
like
or
I
something.
could get a sense of like how popular it was in the greater, consciousness of the society.
Right.
And then the president of Mongolia showed up.
You know it's serious.
Like
then.
this, like Mongolian Secret Service entered first, and then my guide was like, "Oh, you may want to turn on your camera because here comes the president."
Bowling with bones.
Yeah. But we actually went to Mongolia after we had gone to the Balkans.
All in the same trip?
No.
All right, wow.
Separate trips.
Okay.
But I shot so much in the Balkans that I got scared and edited the Mongolia pieces first. But now I'm working on the Balkans.
Okay.
which is cool. It's funny. I realized when I worked at Giant Bomb, I would be at home playing a video game and kind of like taking notes in my mind because, you know, there was a certain amount of pressure to talk intelligently on a podcast or a video about the game that you're playing, right? Like I would take notes sometimes and I don't have that anymore. Like I get to just, you know, play games at my leisure and not really have to feel like I have to keep up on stuff. Now I just have to be an expert on the fall of Yugoslavia.
Sure.
So currently also doing a lot of
fun
research.
stuff.
What could be simpler? How do you do the like the legwork or the field work of like making contacts before you like? I assume like the pre-planning for one of these trips has to be like incredibly complicated, right?
It
Like you probably need to plan out some rough sketch of who you're going to talk to and when and where. But
yeah, and that can be difficult
without having been there before.
Yeah, like I'm basically creating a television show in a country I've never been to.
Right.
But the way that I do it is I contact. So there are private guides for pretty much every country that you want to go to. They don't usually know about video game stuff or game stuff. You know, Cloth Map is about games in general. So we do a lot of sports and board games and tabletop stuff as well. And sometimes, like, I'll throw all of that at this private guide, and they'll like a private guide's job is to know people in that country, and so they generally like have some contacts that they can point me to. But the trick is to plan way more than you think you're going to need because things inevitably fall through. Like there was a guy in Cuba that was a game developer that we really wanted to talk to, but he got scared that like he would say something on camera that the government wouldn't like. And so he canceled our interview.
Damn.
So yeah, we had to. You just you plan for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Balkan stuff. Doing a lot of research right now, and trying to make sure I don't put my foot in my mouth because it's a really sensitive. It's like it's a war that happened in the 90s.
In living memory, sure.
Yeah. Actually, we're running a. I haven't announced it anywhere, but starting August 1st. So I guess from now until August 15th.
Cloth Map exclusive.
Yeah, I'm doing a promotion with another friend of the site, Aura Hack, aka Erica.
Yeah.
She's doing an art piece I've commissioned that I'm going to send out to anyone who is a patron at any level before August 15th. So yeah,
very cool.
There's never been a better time to sign up for patreon.com/clothmap.
Yeah. How far out do you plan your trips, and also how do you decide? Like, did you solicit ideas from people about where to go next, or?
Yeah, I'll take suggestions from people, and sometimes I'll do a poll if
Just throw a poll up.
Always effective.
If I can
where in the world
swing
should I
that,
go?
Yeah, we did that for Brazil, and I mean, whenever you put a poll on the internet with Brazil in it, Brazil is always going to win. That's just how Brazilians work on the internet.
Sure. Big
but,
country, a lot of people.
Yeah, and they're all very plugged into social media and stuff. But yeah, I generally plan out. I like to know when the editing is going to be complete for the trip or for the project that I'm currently working on before I start thinking about the next trip. But generally, it's when I get a sense of that, I give myself like a month to plan it. So yeah, nothing to say right now about the next trip, but there's a lot from the Balkans. I think it's 4 videos minimum.
Oh wow.
And that's
Did shoot a lot of stuff.
So be up to your eyeballs in a timeline for the foreseeable future.
Yes. Yeah.
What's your kind of travel kit like in terms of what's in your bag?
I have
like in terms of entertainment, and like, do you take a Switch with you? Like, what's your
entertainment? I've taken the Switch before. It's pretty good. I've got a backpack that I have to detach the Joy-Cons to slide it in, but it works pretty well. It's tough to charge. Not a lot of airplanes have if they have USB plugs, sometimes they're not powerful enough to charge the Switch. But I typically bring a Kindle. And that's kind of my only real. I don't actually have a lot of downtime on the trips.
Sure.
Like it's just
it is a working trip.
Yeah, it's so exhausting. Like I don't want to, sound like like I'm complaining or anything, but I mean, you guys know, away trips, travel trips are very, very tiring because you're there to do a thing,
right?
And your whole day is planned around doing that thing. So you wake up. eat if you can, go do the thing, and then come back and sleep because you got to do the same thing or
Right.
a different thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so you're just, it's all consuming. So there's not really a lot of time to.
And you don't have a lot of the comforts
anything.
around you, even like people, like
Yeah.
humans that you can reach out to and stuff like that. It can be tough.
Yeah, and not a lot of people in my job that speak your language, so it
Yeah,
can feel
yeah.
very isolating.
I have to imagine, to use a kind of fashionable term, the cognitive load of navigating a bunch of countries where you don't
Yes.
speak or read the language is
Yeah, like
pretty high.
Yeah, and a lot of times I'll, I want to go to these places to experience them and capture what they are like, what the culture is like, but sometimes that's difficult because our primary job is to a lot of times interview people or to go capture an event, right? And so that sort of ancillary, what is it like to be here stuff, there's not a lot of time for. And sometimes you just need to eat at the hotel, like I just need food because, I've got 4 interviews lined up today. So, it's taken me a while to strike that balance. Like initially I thought like I'm going to have, all these interviews and feature videos and then also travelogue videos too, kind of stitching it all together. But I would just be filming 18 hours a day and it's just impossible without a crew. So, but I think we've landed on a pretty good format.
Got a rhythm going.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the Balkans.
Yeah.
I have to describe the the breakup of Yugoslavia in like 2 minutes in this upcoming video. So we'll see how I do.
Set the scene a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome to this podcast. I think
Yeah.
we mostly
Yeah.
speak English around here, so
That's
it should be
fortunate.
a lot easier than what you're used to.
No guarantees.
We get some Australian slang every once in a while.
Occasionally,
Yeah.
Ben will slip into his native accent
Yeah, that's right.
once in a while. Games.
Yeah.
What do we got? Wolfenstein
What do we
Youngblood is
got?
out.
Yeah, that one's
Fire,
out.
boy.
Fire Emblem something. Three
Three
houses?
houses.
3 houses. I understand you have pages of notes.
I mean, it's, oh my God, it's a dense game. All right, yeah. So I've been playing Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Switch exclusive Fire Emblem game. The kind of the third Fire Emblem game since it's become much more than a tactics game, which was kind of like, there was, very light stuff in previous games. The only Fire Emblem I had ever completed up until this point was the GameCube one, which had a subtitle.
Sure.
But the first one there on the DS was kind of when they started introducing more of like, there's marriage elements, there's
Relationship
timeline,
elements,
there's
yeah.
relationship,
Okay.
At this point, I straight up see people comparing the new one to like Persona
Yeah.
and stuff.
This newest
okay.
one is straight up super heavily inspired by Persona in a lot
Really?
of regards, I think.
Okay.
Down to the fact that like you're choosing what to do on your days off. You have like
You have days off in.
yep.
You can't take a day off from war.
Well, you can when you're a professor at a monastery in, the land. So, yeah, the basic setup of the game is you get recruited to become a teacher at this monastery where, so the land is split up into 3 houses. There's the Iron Lions. Oh boy, this is embarrassing. I can't even remember the name of my own house.
They're blue.
There's the blue house, the
Yep.
red house, and the yellow
Yep.
house.
Okay.
And they've all sent like a bunch of students from their houses to this monastery to train, and like they're all in peace with each other. It's like a friendly, we're gonna spar with each other. At least that's how things begin. But at the beginning, you're forced to choose one of these houses, and it's gonna be your house for the whole game. Presumably, they set it up as a very big deal, and these houses all have independent units, independent storylines. Like you can recruit units from other houses here and there. Like if you get your stats up, like if I want to recruit the guy who's heavy armor proficient, I have to show that I have an understanding of heavy armor, and then maybe I can recruit him into my house. So different houses have strengths and weaknesses.
How soon into the game is it until you choose a house?
Pretty much right out the gate. You
Really?
fight
Okay.
one battle, like one skirmish kind of,
Yeah.
and then it's just like you meet the 3 like leads of the houses.
So it's based off of just that interaction with the lead. Okay.
Kind of, yeah. They give you like a sentence or two. Like one house is the Holy Kingdom, they're like the brave knights, that sort of thing. The one I've gone with seems very like kind of Game of Thronesy, medieval, like not as highfalutin like priests and priestesses, but like this kingdom's been around forever and we're gonna protect it. And then the last one's like the ragtag group that are unified, like a bunch of little groups unified under one banner, like the free folk kind of vibe to it.
So you go to their kegger, and then
Yeah, but so you're their teacher, but you're also like the cool teacher. So everyone
Okay.
wants to hang out with you and like get dinner and stuff with you. So you're straight up, you're like you get a, so this is all out of battle. This is all like in a calendar, like you're walking around. The area is quite huge that you can explore on foot. And
like,
all the
are you
students
wandering
spread out.
around like you're controlling a character?
Like a world map kind of thing? Or?
Well, no, just like like a hub area,
Okay.
kind of. And you can fast travel anywhere. Like the movement's really good there. You can
was the last one like this? The 3DS one?
It was so I didn't play the second 3DS one, but I think it was more like menu based, like just like
yeah,
scrolling.
I
through.
think
what
the
it
DS
was,
one
yeah.
was the last one I played, and it just in my memory, it's just a succession of battles. Like it's just
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
turn-based battle
With
after
some
another.
like
like
still
banter.
image with
Yeah,
some
yes.
text.
Yeah. But yeah, this is like, once you have a relationship strong enough with a student, you can have tea time with them, which is a big deal because it's like and then there are, dialogue trees where they respond better
Tea
or
leads
worse.
to intimacy.
It does. In the Fire Emblem universe, tea is the popularity equivalent. And then, yeah, man, there's like so many things. You can fish. There's a fishing minigame. There's cooking. There's you can plant herbs and plants and then harvest them and use those to make ingredients for meals.
Is all this like I like the Fire Emblem format and formula.
Yes.
Like the battle stuff. It's kind of a lot for me to take in in too big of a dose. Like battle after battle after battle after battle is real tough for me.
Yeah.
So having other systems in there is kind of alluring, but do you find them interesting and fun, or are they just kind of like tedious and not what you're looking for?
They're pretty good about, I say the best thing about it is they're very good at letting you really focus on what you want to do, and then you can kind of, there's almost like an auto do this for every option.
Oh, cool.
okay.
So like another activity is teaching. You're a teacher, and so like you can individually go in and tell each of your students what they're going to learn, and these are things like axe mastery, lance mastery, black magic, kind of the different.
Does that translate directly into like new skills?
Yeah,
in battle?
it translates into ranking up those skills, which lets you reclass them. And reclassing is where you kind of get into your unit composition, team composition stuff. But even that, you can say just kind of like, teach to their best strengths, and it'll automatically level for you. And then once in a while, it'll be like, this student wants to learn this other thing. Do you want to choose this new path for them? And you could be like, yes or no. Even down to battling. Like if you're coming to this game solely for like the romancing options, kind of treating it like a visual novel, there is an auto battle function in there that is like, and if you're playing on casual where units don't, there's casual and hardcore. Casual, when units die, they're out of the battle. In hardcore, it's permadeath. So if you're playing on casual, you can totally play this on casual. You could like, I imagine you can go play a visual novel if you only want a visual novel. But if you want some like light, if you want to like figure out your team comp and your unit positioning and then just have the auto battler take it from there, you can totally do that.
How streamlined is that? Do you actually still watch the turns take place, or does it just like crunch numbers in 30 seconds and it's like, all right, you're done, you win?
You can select the speed. You can you can hold X or whatever to make it go faster. And then the battle stuff. The battle stuff, I would say it's hard for me to compare it to the last couple because I didn't get super into them, but it's intense. There's tons of different stats you can learn. Like positioning is really important. Positioning yourself next to allies gives you a better chance to dodge counterattacks. Positioning certain unit. There's like terrain where you're going to have better defense in the grass versus out in the open field and stuff like that. The animations for the battle look great. The game overall, I think, it looks a little iffy in spots. It was actually Orahak who tweeted like a screenshot that was very unflattering, and it has a lot of like backgrounds and big textures that don't look great. But the way it moves, the character design,
Like
all
in
that
motion,
stuff,
it looks
really good.
Great.
Do you feel like it's more accessible?
It's both more overwhelming and more accessible.
Okay.
They tutorialize it very well. They go through really slowly. Like you can just get in there right away and start really, like if you maybe are doing a new game plus or something, you can really get in and start figuring out like, okay, I already want to do this, this, and this, or you have a style of play. You're like, oh, I want to like min max with magic users, and you can get in there and get dirty with that. But like if you just want to kind of coast along and keep it pretty light touch. Like there's a lot of information. There's a ton of story that I'm having trouble following. It does the same kind of blank slate-ish protagonist who is there to absorb the history of the world and has some sort of mystical being talking to them every now and then. You're the chosen one trope.
Because I feel like Fire Emblem is it's a big series. I've always felt that it's more like it's a bigger series in Japan, per capita than a lot of other places in the West. And I think
it's so big it killed Advance Wars. God damn it!
Yeah, but like there are characters in Smash Brothers, right? And people don't know where these guys are from.
Right.
And then they hear they're from Fire Emblem, and then they go try to play a Fire Emblem game, and it is a hardcore tactics game.
Isn't
right?
Isn't Marth from Fire Emblem?
Yeah,
like
he's
the
the
classic
first
classic
Fire
Smash Brothers character that nobody knows until you. Yeah.
So do you feel like this is a more, by virtue of it not being just a hardcore tactics game, do you think it's an easier sell to those people?
Yeah, totally. I think like you have to be at least a little bit interested in either the storytelling, visual novel, team building, exercise stuff, or the military sim battle positioning stuff. Like if you're at least moderately interested in either of those or both, great. Then yes, this game is for you. I feel like this is a good entry into Fire Emblem. I think like it's convoluted and it might be hard to go back to some of the older ones expecting there to be as many systems in it. But I think if you like played this and had a good time, then you could totally go back into those older ones and start building up the foundations.
Do you have any sense if the majority of people, I mean, this might be hard to gauge just from like social media, but are most people playing these games this game on casual at this point? Because like wasn't that only introduced like 2 or 3 games ago?
Yeah,
like I feel like I remember.
Relatively new, yeah.
I feel like I remember some kind of outcry from purists that they even gave people the option.
Yeah. Oh, and when this is
really,
even,
yeah,
weird.
Imagine
it's weird gatekeeping around video games.
I just wonder if, because obviously it's so much less punitive. I wonder if that's the thing most people have migrated to at this point.
I wouldn't be surprised, but something that it did introduce in this, which I wanted to bring up, and I'm glad you reminded me, is it's called like whatever the name of the like spirit who's guiding you's will, and you can basically rewind the battle 3 times a turn. So you can like straight up just
3 times per turn.
3 times per battle.
Rewind
once per turn.
1 turn 3 times.
Yes.
Okay.
And
even on hardcore,
which
oh, wow.
I'm playing on like hardcore normal or something. Like there's difficult. There's the hardcore casual distinction and then difficulty on top of that. And I'm glad it's in there because I like having this like pressure to keep everyone alive. It makes me like take the game a little slower and think about it a little more. But I am rusty at Fire Emblem, so I've had instances where I like, excuse me, I left my spellcaster a little too far forward and he just died in a turn because like 2 melee dudes rolled up on him.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, right, Fire Emblem, can't do that. Roll it back a turn. And the great thing is it's there, but you don't have to use it, right? Like it's not forcing you to lose. You don't lose anything as a hardcore fan of the game by having this system in there.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of numbers being thrown around about like when it gets really good.
I heard like 35 hours or something.
Yeah, I've heard there's like basically an in-game event that happens that really changes the game and like bursts it wide open.
Well, I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean it's not good yet, or does it just get gooder?
Right.
I'm really looking forward to it being gooder because I'm already having a really good time with it. I've done the first like 4 or 5 main missions. Basically, there's like 1 main mission a month that you have to worry about. Like at the end of the month, we're gonna go fight these bandits who have set up shop over here, or there's a rebellion that we need to go squash. And so you're spending the days at school up in there, like socializing, teaching, whatever. And then when you get to the end of the month, you fight.
Are there just kind of like random side battles you can do in that time?
It seems like it. There hasn't been a ton now, and then there's also like sparring. You have like spars between the houses sometimes. And everything's like all the characters. I would say like in my house, there's probably 10 characters. So I'd say that's 30 characters between the 3 houses, and then a bunch of other teachers who you can all socialize with and potentially romance and stuff like that. And they're all fully voice acted. And there's a lot of it. They'll like sometimes, they'll say something when they kill a guy or say something when they level up. Or sometimes if they just have like a crit, they'll like say something. And it's not always just like the same voice line. It seems just like there's a ton of it in there.
A little bit of flavor.
Really cool.
Yeah.
It's fun, dude. It's I was a little worried that I'd be overwhelmed with it, but
Are you able to gauge like how similar the storylines are between the houses? Or
they seem wildly different. I kind of there's a really good article out there on Kotaku called like what you should know before you choose a house in Fire Emblem Three Houses that kind of breaks down like what types of units do they have and then general overtone of the story.
cool. All right.
And it seems like, like maybe the Free Folk one's a little lighter and maybe the like Holy Kingdom one is a little darker.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot of video game that I'm going to be very slowly playing for the rest of my life.
As always, I am happy for Fire Emblem fans.
Yeah,
But that just, I don't know. Sounds like a lot to approach.
It's a little daunting.
it is a lot.
Yeah.
And then I got one more game that's even more anime.
What?
Oh no, it's that one.
Jan already knows.
Oh, no.
Oh boy,
Did that come out last week? It's been such a
Friday last week.
yeah. So this is Kill la Kill If from.
Is that how you pronounce it? If?
I think so.
I spent a fair amount of time Googling the title just to see exactly how they style it because it's like
How's it spelled?
IF.
But it
It's
could
like,
be IF. It's an anime
isn't the
game, so it could be
capitalization.
anything.
I forget if the F is capitalized or
It
not.
is, yeah.
It is, right. So I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if it was an acronym. Also, they use a hyphen in there, which is weird. Like, it's just I don't know.
So
It threw me off.
what I gather,
Anime, you can't trust it.
you certainly cannot trust. If you take one thing away from this podcast, do not trust anime. I guess they call it If because it features some like fun what if storylines based off of Kill la Kill, the very popular anime from Studio Trigger. It came out, I don't know, 2015. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I've heard of that anime.
Yeah.
There you go.
So this is an arena fighter. It's an anime video game, so it's an arena fighter. This is like saying the best video game movie I ever saw, but it's one of the best arena fighters that I've ever played.
And when you say arena fighter, are you talking about the Dragon Ball Z games where you fly around and fight?
Kind of, yeah. I'm talking like
3D movement, like
and
big
then
area.
stuff.
behind the shoulder camera. A button to like dash in on your opponent,
Got
and
it.
then you start mashing the button to combo them.
So like
One-on-one?
even better than like CyberConnect stuff.
Yeah, I
Wow.
like it better than CyberConnect stuff. I think Jan, you might have more experience with those than me.
Yeah, I mean from what the limited time I played, it seemed comparable to or better than the best Ultimate Ninja Storm Naruto
Wow.
games.
That's
That's
impressive.
that's
yeah.
saying something. People hold those games up to a high standard sometimes.
Yeah, visually.
It's like Jump Force in this category too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And speaking of visually, this is like I said it on the quick look, but it is legitimately one of the best looking video games I've ever played.
What?
Wow.
Like in
What?
the
It was a very bold statement.
in the terms of like what you're doing and what is happening on the screen when you're pressing these buttons, like a lot of it is down to the fact that A Plus Games is the company who did it, along with Platinum. They published, or not Platinum, excuse me, Arxis.
Yeah.
Oh, did Arxis
published
just
it.
publish it?
Yes.
Okay.
They really nailed the look of the show, which is already like I didn't watch Kill la Kill, but like I can appreciate the visual style of that show. Is like that show and that game just reek with style. It's very very bold and a lot of midriff.
Yeah,
Midriff
I
and
just
under
googled some
boob.
images of this. And
Yeah, you're gonna need to
immediately
wipe
was
your
like, wow.
internet history after that one, Brad.
Yeah.
But like the animations of when you go into a super are all really cool. It really looks like a Platinum game in that. Or I keep saying Platinum.
Right.
Or I keep looking Jason in the eyes because I know what
You
he's.
know.
I know he knows what I'm talking about. It
And I
looks
just keep
like the
nodding.
Arxis.
It's like I know.
That Arxis look.
Mm-hmm.
The only bummers about it are it. Well, so I guess speaking of the gameplay, it's got like you've got a melee attack, a ranged attack, and a kind of guard break move, like a heavy attack that'll break their guard. And so you're alternating between these for combos, like
Any
light,
throws
light,
or anything, or?
heavy. You have a counter, and I think it's just those three
Okay.
main attacks, and then supers on each of the buttons. Like
Okay.
you have a melee super, a ranged super, and a guard break super.
Okay. Yeah, go
Um,
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Questions are welcome. And then you can jump, and then you can hit the jump button twice to like do a super dash into somebody, just home in on them. And it's broken up. There's a story mode where you play as Satsuki, I believe is her name.
Is that the main character? Yeah.
No,
Her
it's
sister.
her. It's the longer haired anime lady.
There we go. Okay. I know.
Anyways, you're playing through like at a point in the like, so it's like I don't know, after the 6th episode or something, but something different happens, right?
What's
now
the premise of the anime?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry.
It's
There's
all of them wear something called Goku uniforms.
You can't. That can't
So
be,
there's
that
something
can't
called
be
the
real.
life fiber.
That can't be real.
Apparently,
It's
it's
real.
like Goku from Dragon Ball borrowed that from like ancient
Okay.
lore.
Okay.
Like it predates our hero Goku. Basically,
In the year
it's
of our Goku.
a high school. A girl is looking for vengeance because her father died.
Yeah.
She goes to a high school where everyone there wears these like outfits that make them really strong, composed of something called I think life fiber.
Life fibers,
Yeah,
yes.
make some Gokus.
And she finds like a delinquent one who's like possessed by a demon or whatever, and then it makes her clothes explode and like a very the Sailor Moon transformation where she's like in light and she gets the sailor suit. Imagine that if it was just like 100 times more horny.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's just kind of the entire show.
Oh.
Is like it's like fighting, but also like I've heard it's empowering in a lot of regards. Like I know a lot of like female anime fans who hold that show up to a high standard in the regard of like it's empowering. Like
Wow.
because it's one of those shows where everyone's clothes are exploding.
Oh,
Dudes,
then that makes it
ladies,
okay.
It's just
All right.
like all these high school kids. Clothes are just exploding off their
Okay.
body.
Life fiber, not very durable. Like that stuff just
No, it
falls right off.
It just melts right off.
Can't wear it in the rain.
But anyway, back to the game. So the story mode, you do some one-on-one battles, you do some like 1-on-4 battles, you do some. If you've played Smash Brothers, you'll know them as like the wireframe guys, where you have to kill like 100 of these like kind of putty-looking guys. And then there's multiplayer, online, local. There's only 8 characters.
Yeah.
I would say so. It's the 2 main characters, 4. They're like 4 heads of class, and then 2 bad guys. I think is the entire roster, and then 2 more coming as DLC. So it's a little limited in that regard. The show doesn't have a huge roster to draw from,
Right.
so it's going to be inherently limited. It's $60.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's a full priced video game, and I would say the story mode there's 2. Once you beat it, you unlock a second path, and I don't know if there's a third path because I haven't beat that second one. But each of those paths takes roughly an hour, and that's like with cutscenes and everything. So there's not a lot of meat on the bones when
Doesn't
it
seem
comes
like
to
it.
what's in the game. There's a gallery, there's a figure. You have your virtual figures that you can
Dioramas.
set up and change the backgrounds and all
Rotate.
that. Rotate,
Zoom.
position, zoom, pan.
Yeah.
love to view a model. Is the online good? I mean, like I would assume.
When I was trying it, it hadn't been out yet, and it was impossible to find a match. I have not checked back since. But like the thing is, like, if you're a hardcore Kill la Kill fan,
You're gonna pay their asking price.
you're gonna pay the asking price, and I think you're gonna have a good time with it. I think it really nails the look and the feel of the show, the really over the topness that Studio Trigger's known for.
But how
it's
about as a
anime
fighting game
hell.
fan? Like,
It's gonna be at Anime Evo, the like official side tournament.
Okay, so this does
thing
count
they
as a
have
fighting game?
I guess they have technically counted it as a fighting game.
Okay.
The science hasn't been done yet, so it's hard to say. But like I could see people really hooking onto it because like when I was playing through the story mode, I was just like mashing it. It's combo, like mashing. I set it down to the easiest difficulty just because I wanted to see how long it was.
yeah.
But then I hopped into training and I was looking at some of the combos in there, and it's like got real depth to it that I would have never known because the game never forces you to even
Exactly. Yeah.
explore that.
Yeah. You sent me a screenshot of some of those combos, and I was like, wow, that's really impressive. I didn't know that there was that kind of depth in that game.
So
Do you think you
I
would have
like-
encountered that on a normal or harder difficulty?
I think it would have forced me to play a little smarter,
Okay.
but not necessarily. And the other thing is, like, you're limited to one character, and she's pretty much like the Ryu of the game. She's got nothing like too fancy or too complicated. Some of the other characters are way more complicated, so you don't really get a taste for that just in the main storyline. You would get to like maybe understand her character a little better, but
Okay.
not these other ones. So we'll see. Like Catherine got a competitive scene around it, so
Yep.
who knows? There's potential for anything. I think I could see this like getting a very small dedicated following of trigger heads out there.
Whoa.
Interesting.
Yikes.
Would you call me?
Is that it?
Nothing. Studio Trigger did the.
Got it.
As we mentioned earlier, there's a new Wolfenstein out.
Wolfenstein?
Yeah.
Wolfenstein Youngblood
Yeah, there
came out
is.
on Friday. Who's played? I've put about 3 hours into it.
Raise your hands.
I played the
Mine's
first
up.
level.
Oh,
on
no,
the
did you guys
Nintendo
stop?
Switch.
I
guys-
got past it.
You guys,
actually.
you guys co-opt the first level on the Switch on UPF, and that
Yeah.
seemed
Not great.
No.
Let's just say,
questionable.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Don't get Wolfenstein for Switch.
Okay, the performance.
I
wise.
see.
Okay, I'm like,
Not
Yeah.
just- also
Like,
like
I like the
bugs
game.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
we had a weird like cutscene bug happen where it like replayed the first cutscene of the game after we died to the boss, and then it
fun.
brought us back into the boss
Yeah, it
fight.
seemed
Mhm.
kind of disjointed and weird.
And it was a bummer because like we we were down to just like pistol ammo only against this boss, and who was
That boss
really that
It
boss
sucks ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough.
It's
Even
not
on-
a great
That's rough.
start. To
Even
that
on a
game.
platform that runs well and plays right,
And
like
it
that.
not-
Like, ugh. He's practically like he's got stealth camo,
He's stealth and
and it's
invincible.
actually very effective stealth camo.
Yeah, it's not video game
which is a
stealth
bad
or
tool.
real life
It's
stealth.
a bad tool to give to an AI character
Yeah.
when you can't see them. He's got like that death laser that just melts your health, and
Yeah.
you can't hear it. There's like not a lot of audiovisual feedback on when he's using his abilities.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
it's just
a,
a
I mean, there's a
weirdly-
big startup for it, but at
Yeah.
the same time, yeah,
Yeah.
it totally does.
It's
melt
not a
your health.
great
Yeah.
way to, and I will say the Switch version, even in handheld mode, looks much worse than the docked mode. Like it's rough. I tweeted out a couple screenshots that are yeah.
The motion blur on it is definitely something else.
It's
and
it almost made me a little queasy.
It made me queasy for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Is that an option you could turn off?
Negative.
Wow.
I couldn't see when I
Man.
popped in. I couldn't see any video options.
What a bummer.
I will say the co-op stuff worked really well. Like
Oh.
we were able to.
Well, when we were playing together, it worked
Yes.
very well. I tried to start a campaign with other folks and
like public match.
public match.
Wow,
yeah.
that's brave.
I thought so, and I thought like, well, we're popping in at the same time, starting or whatever, should be cool. I would just have the worst teammates in the world that would be like still in the first starting sequence.
Oh, did you
And-
get pulled into their game? Or-
well, I would host a game,
Okay.
and then a random person would join mine, and I don't know if maybe they were further in and they were dipping back, or I was further in than they were, but I was running into the same sequence of like, this cutscene's gonna play now, and like I would die, they would die, people would just not be cooperating well at all, and I don't know if it's just to attribute it to playing it on the Switch, but like they'd be stuck somewhere, I'd be stuck somewhere. I'd be stuck on geometry and like yelling
Oh,
for
really?
them. Yeah, it was rough.
I haven't had any geometry issues. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I've been playing it alone, and the AI character seems totally competent. Like she kills people for me, and
Yeah.
like every time I do one of those like 2-person doors, she shows right up and opens it. Like
What
that
do you guys
stuff
playing
has
on?
been- I'm on PS4.
PC over here. Yeah, it runs great.
After Wolfenstein 2, I would show up for anything they put out called Wolfenstein to the extent that I'm going to play that weird VR thing they just put out, which apparently is not great.
Cyberpilot.
So this is the third of the rebooted.
No, so if you remember, so they did Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Yep.
In like 2014 or something. That was the
Um,
first Machine
yeah.
Games one. Then they put out, I think it was a year later, they put out a thing called The Old Blood.
Right.
Do you remember
Right.
that?
Yeah.
So this I actually kind of fits into that slot
Yeah.
I
because
see.
Old Blood came out and it was like a DLC-ish
Uh-huh.
$20, maybe $30 kind of thing, like short thing.
Mhm.
The Wolfenstein 2 came out, that was a full game, and now this is a $30 thing
I see.
that's like 5-6 hours long.
Okay.
The difference is like Old Blood was kind of a side story, like they had zombies and just offbeat shit. Like this is set up as like the next chapter in the story of BJ Blazkowicz and
yeah, it's like
the fight against the
15 or
Nazis.
20 years later.
Yeah,
right?
so I know
What
like back at E3,
year is it at this point?
it's like 1980.
80.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think what the 2 ended like what in the late 60s, is that right?
Yeah, I want to say
something
that.
like that. I know we've spent a lot of time talking about kind of the basic premise of this thing because Jeff saw it at Judges Week, but yeah, it's like the end of 2 was like Anya is pregnant, like they are about to kind of kick off the rebellion in America. Cut to like beginning of this game, like the twins are grown up.
Mhm.
America
Wow,
America
okay.
has been liberated.
Yeah.
And
What?
I was like, okay, that's kind of an interesting amount of material to skip over in like
Yeah.
Right.
a title at the beginning of the game. But I was ready to go with it, thinking like, okay, they'll still save all the big stuff for you to participate in, or like, that'll be in Wolfenstein 3 or whatever. Like right off the bat, there are multiple references to BJ straight up killing Hitler.
Yeah.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
like
yeah.
everybody is referring to BJ as like he's the man who killed Hitler. And I'm like, fucking,
you're the daughters
are
of
you
the
telling
man
me
that
you're not going to let me kill Hitler? Like, fucking what?
Wait, Wolfenstein has a lot of weird stuff though. Could
Yeah,
this
it's
not be
true.
like a dream sequence or something?
It's played pretty straight. Like this
Okay.
is so the two twins or the two daughters, Soph and Jess, like they go to Paris, which is BJ has vanished,
Yeah.
and they go to Paris.
Well, they hijack it.
Yes, they hijack a helicopter to fly to Paris. 'Cause
Wait, are
that's
you
where
playing
they-
as them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it's a co-op game. You pick one or the other, but they have the same abilities and the same everything. Like it's just kind of cosmetic who you pick. Yeah, they're looking for him because he's vanished, thought to be in Paris somewhere. And yeah, like that just really threw me for a loop because I sincerely thought this would just be a bridge to a Wolfenstein 3 where you would fucking get to ice Hitler at the end
Yeah.
because that's what everybody wants out of a Wolfenstein game.
I mean, it seems like with how crazy Wolfenstein can get.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
You still may
totally,
be able to do that.
Like this could be some kind of bait and switch. I haven't finished this thing, so that
Yeah.
may be addressed by the end of this game, or maybe you get to the third game and
Yeah, I
like
wonder.
there he is in some kind of incubation chamber piloting a robot suit. But like also they write some of the major characters out, like Set Roth, the scientist dude from 2 has passed on by this time, and that just sort of is like barely addressed.
So like, oh yeah, he was old.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was like a major character in those games, like one of my
Yeah.
favorite characters in those
Yeah,
games.
totally.
And like they just sort of like
Bye.
dispense with a lot of the stuff that was going on
But
at the
again,
end of 2.
he might get a proper send off.
That's
in the next
possible.
game.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of lukewarm on this thing. Like it's such a weird structure. Like how deep in did you get?
It's hard to say because it's kind of open ended.
Yeah.
There's so many different.
Are you
side
in the
things,
open
so-
world?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
open,
yeah.
definitely in the open world
So
part.
I mean, they've always had like a hub where you could kind
Yeah.
of go out and do some side stuff in
The
between.
catacombs.
But this is a straight up like it's not loot based, but it is level based. Like you have a
Mhm.
character level. The enemies
Yeah.
have levels.
There's
the enemies
some
have like shields.
really light RPG
Like
elements.
you level up, you gain experience points, you
Yeah.
buy weapon upgrades.
Some
like,
areas
you
are
do-
gated, right? Level gated.
I guess that well,
Kind-
so the
kind of.
the
So
missions all have like a level requirement on them, and
Yeah.
if they're too high for you, it's just a skull.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I'm level 15 right now, and I've got some like level 16 and 17 missions, and then like the kind of end game missions or skull missions right now.
That's about where I'm at.
Okay, but the I haven't seen the whole open world yet, but it seems very kind of just generic and like not super interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
like
Nazi
the-
occupied Paris. but
The areas are very very similar
Yeah.
structure wise because you're in the one city.
Yeah.
There's instances in which you go down to like the catacombs. That's where your hub
the
world
resistance
is.
hanging out.
But scenery wise, yeah, it is kind of samey.
It's like a lot of
I can say that.
it's a lot of streets and alleys and
Yep.
like some apartments and like some kind of detention centers and
Right.
stuff like that. But it's all just kind of runs
I
together.
mean, think of like the Arcane systems had a hand in this as well.
Yeah,
I'm
this
not
was-
sure how much of a hand they had design wise, but there's definitely some. I don't know. It feels like an Arcane
Yeah.
game in that there's different ways for you to approach missions, and there's kind of a verticality sometimes to the levels, and there's different avenues that you can take. You don't have to just take the beaten path.
yeah, you've got
I
like a
guess.
double. You're in like a crazy cyber super suit.
Yeah.
So you've got like a huge double jump. And
That's pretty
you can
cool.
Kind of mantle up to windows and stuff like that.
Yeah, that stuff feels really good, and I think it feels like an Arcane game, and the way that I've
Yeah,
been playing
sure. There's a lot of air ducts to duck into
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like alternate entrances into places. So
it,
yeah,
and
sure.
I've been playing it, pretty much solid stealth.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are abilities
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
that-
Once you
and-
get the ability to, like throw
Yeah.
your weapon, that's clutch.
And some-
And your
it's
AI
okay.
is like never letting, like alerting people.
I
or
don't think
anything.
I don't think she can
and you get a
be
cloaking
spotted.
ability. It's like, it's so well suited to
Cool.
stealth. It's
Yeah, like a
really
bunch
cool.
of the weapons have silencer
Yep.
options that you can
Yeah, you
purchase.
get
and
one
stuff.
on
So
your
you can
machine gun as well.
kind of
Does it-
spec 2 different play styles.
Does it not have that Wolfenstein level up by like using the weapon thing?
It does have that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's actually the weapon upgrade stuff is pretty elaborate, and I actually am kind of into that aspect of it because you rank up each weapon by just killing people with it,
Yeah.
and that gets you bonuses. But then
Oh, right.
every weapon has like 5 or 6 different upgrade points on it. It's like you can
Yeah.
upgrade the magazine, the receiver, the sights, the muzzle, the stock, and there's like it's like Borderlands style. There are 3 gun vendors,
Oh,
like gun companies, and it's like.
Oh, sure.
God, I'm trying to remember. It's like the tempo parts are all like firing rate and ammo related.
oh yeah.
Like the steer parts are all damage related. Like it is full on like gun brands Borderlands style, which is a weird thing. The thing people seem to not like the most in this game is something I actually don't mind that much, which is that the enemies have like big fat health bars.
They really do.
And a lot of the enemies have like shields, like multiple levels of shields on them.
and different weapon types.
Yeah.
Do
So there's
different
like
damage.
there's like
to-
fat shields and thin shields.
Weird.
And you have to match weapons that damage those types of shields to those.
I'm not a fan of
It's
that.
almost a Destiny style thing, of like, oh, this guy's got the orange shields. I got to use the solar weapon.
Right.
It's like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird.
It is a very different direction for the game, but like your AI buddy can get you up anytime you go down. Like
Yeah.
it's very generous
Do you feel like
about
this
stuff
is
like that.
this is them maybe testing some stuff out and just seeing what sticks, or
Maybe like I definitely salute them trying something different
Yeah.
because I feel like those these modern Wolfenstein games have never quite found it. Like they've
Right.
tried to
As much as I loved like the story and stuff of
Yeah.
2, it was
Right.
very like it felt kind of old in some regards and stale and
especially with like Doom coming out of the same
Yeah.
publisher on the same engine, like nailing that like 90s arcade style shooter thing so fucking well. Like Wolfenstein's also tried to do that and not been as successful about it. So this is very different from that, and I'm glad they're at least trying some other stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of like the Kirby of shooters. Like
Sure.
they use it as the test bed to
Yeah,
throw
sure.
in whatever idea.
Yeah,
they
and
want.
it's only a $30 like kind of in between game,
Yeah.
so it's like I guess a good place to experiment with some stuff. But I don't know, like all the missions I've been doing out in the world have been like even the story based missions
Very
because there are
similar,
straight up quest givers in the hub. Like they have
Yeah.
little icons over their head. You go up and they give you a mission. Like even those have just been like, okay, shoot your way through this hospital, walk up to a switch, and activate the switch, and now the mission's over.
Yep.
There are like dynamic missions that will spawn as you're running around the world, and they'll be like, hey, there's
Something over here.
an
Go check
Enigma
it out.
machine. You got to
Yeah.
go steal it, or like, hey, go plant a car bomb on this guy or something. Those are even more basic. Those are literally just run up to an activation prompt and hit the button, and then get a bunch of XP. Like the mission design has been super underwhelming so far, but the combat's kind of interesting with all the upgrades and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
that stuff's been fun. It's felt good. I
Yeah.
think, combat wise.
I actually am enjoying the combat more than in 2,
Okay.
weirdly enough, even though like the story and the mission design has just been kind of bland.
Yeah, that's
far.
that's where it's kind of stumbling for me as
Yeah.
well. It's like once I got put into the open world and I went on a couple of missions and they were all kind of samey, and I'm like, this is it?
Yeah.
I guess. Okay, all right.
I feel like they just kind of rush through the story to get you where you're going.
Yeah,
like they don't
they're
spend
like-
a lot of time developing the characters like they did in 2.
They give you your end point. It's like you've got to hit these 3 spots.
Yeah.
But you've got to level up until you
Yeah.
know can do it.
Yeah, there's
And
like
I'm
dialogue. There's straight up dialogue from your sister as you're running around about just like I don't think we're ready for this right now. Like when
Right.
you're in an area when it's like too high level for you, it's just like a weird thing to have in a Wolfenstein game.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
It sounds like it's so short that I just want to see it through to kind of see where they go with it and know what's going on for hopefully a Wolfenstein 3.
Yeah, just because the story in like Wolfenstein 2 is so great. Like,
Yeah.
bonkers.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I
like
want to see,
so insane.
even if it's just half as bonkers.
so
as
insane we
that.
built an entire Game of the Year category around it. It was just like nothing I have ever seen in a video game.
And everything that I have seen, like storyline wise, has been pretty good so far.
In this,
Yeah.
I mean it's not terrible,
It's
but
not
like
terrible.
following
it's
New
all- it's
Colossus,
alright.
like there's nothing
Yeah,
on
it's-
that, on
it's
that
hard.
level of
It's-
absurdity.
Yeah, it's hard to hit those marks.
Yeah,
I might try and pick it up on a different platform.
yeah.
and it's cheap
It's-
enough. I mean, you
Yeah,
can
it's
get it
only
for-
$30, which is great.
Yeah, it's the Switch version.
Is it standalone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say one more thing about Wolfenstein?
Sure.
Fuck a Bethesda.net account. Are you serious
Yeah.
with this shit?
Yeah.
Are you serious? For those of you who don't know, when you launch the game for the first time, you are forced to create.
You have to?
You are forced.
Okay.
There is no way to skip it,
I
right?
swear,
You-
I was able to bypass that.
You were?
Yeah, like
I
I
looked-
like I exited out of the.
When Jan told me, like, hey, you got to make an account for it, I was like, no, I don't. I don't have to make an account for a video game that's illegal. And I couldn't not figure it out.
I think
I was-
because we needed to play together, we needed to do that.
maybe.
Okay, yeah,
But-
maybe
but-
it's if you want to use the online at all.
I think
in
that's
this
what it is. I,
online
I think
multiplayer
it's
co-op
it's
game.
that like to enable full all functionality.
Oh my god.
Which-
Yeah, and that
So
was the thing is like
stupid.
I got the deluxe version, and that stuff didn't unlock until I created the account.
Yeah.
That
right.
was-
Yeah,
there's
actually,
another
yeah,
thing.
totally. There's
So
a giant
great.
pop-up when you log in going,
Yeah.
congratulations, here's your deluxe stuff.
Here's your stuff.
Just another account
paid
to get
for it.
hacked in 4 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Thank you, Bethesda.net,
Yep.
for your wonderful online service. It's making my video game a lot more fun.
Yeah. To be fair, they're not alone in that. Like a bunch
Right.
of a bunch of publishers do the
This
same
is the
shit,
first
but,
one I've
but
seen
they're
them
maybe a
being
little
so
more
aggressive.
about it for sure. Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, y'all got any other games that you want to talk about?
I got a Pokemon Go update.
Uh-oh.
I'll only take a minute.
Okay.
Team Rocket has now invaded the world.
Good lord.
Only a couple Pokestops. So a Pokestop, instead of being blue, the little things you swipe in the world, they'll now be like shadowy black. So when you swipe it, a Team Rocket member, I'm sorry, it's Team Go Rocket, which I don't know.
Ooh.
Okay.
And you'll have to fight them with your Pokemon. Then after you fight their Pokemon, you get a chance to catch their Shadow Pokemon, and then from there, you can choose to purify it. But the Shadow Pokemon looks so freaking cool.
Why would you want to purify?
Why would you want to purify it?
Huh.
I mean, I got a Snorlax that's like glowing evil right now.
I have a question. Please,
Yes.
please don't get upset.
No. It's fine.
Are Team Rocket the bad guys?
Team Rocket's kind of the bad guys.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
They blast off sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wobbuffet. That's it for my Pokemon
All right.
Go update.
Okay. Shadow
Be
Pokemon.
ever vigilant for Team Rocket.
Yes.
right. Cool.
Hmm.
If you see something, say something.
Also, Shiny Rayquaza's back. I pronounce it Rayquaza. Fight me.
What?
It's
You don't want to
like,
get involved.
I
with
don't think I
Pokemon
want to
beef.
know.
It's like Rayquaza. I don't know.
Oh,
Who
it's
knows?
like LaCroix kind of.
Arcanine, Arcanine.
Ooh.
Oh, it's Arcanine.
Nah, I don't know, Ben.
All right.
Oh, we should talk about Fantasy Strike real quick.
Oh, we should.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So that's the newest game from David Serlin. He's an old fighting game
Oh, wow.
guy.
Drew probably could.
Yep. Yeah, we mentioned you
My
actually
old
on
coworker.
the. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's right. Yeah, he worked on HD remakes.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, he had a big hand in
As
that.
did
so.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, we mentioned that in
people
the
that
quick
don't
look.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Both Drew and David Serlin. And anyway, simplified fighting game.
Yeah.
Kind of a 3-button thing. Four if
How
you count the
simplified?
jump. We're talking about like no motions. You don't have to block high or low.
You can't crouch.
Yeah, there's
So
no
is it
crouching.
like Rising Thunder?
Yes, yeah.
I'm listening.
You got like 10 characters.
Yeah, you've got one button that's first. I don't know, I'm thinking of Inuyasha because we just played that as well. No, now I'm mixing them
There's
up.
an A, B, and a C.
Yeah.
And the A and B are like kind of normals, I guess, so to speak. And then C is like a special.
Okay, I was thinking. Okay.
And then so you'll have like a ground, like basically every move has a ground version and an air version. But no like. That's it. There's like 6 moves and a super per character, right? Like,
Yeah, and there's no like high-low mix-up potential or anything like that. You can block. There's some moves that will like shoot you to the other side of the opponent. You gotta switch block directions.
everything's in like single points of damage, or like a command grab will be 3 points, but you can clearly
Yeah.
see the health bar
And
different
like how many
characters.
the health points each character has. Like the big rook guy has like 6 or something like that. Whereas Janina, who's
like a keep away character.
yeah, she's got like 4 or something like that. So it's all spelled out for you. There's not a lot hidden to it. They've got some really good tutorials.
Yeah, they have these. At first, I was just like, so they have these tutorial videos about the
Yeah.
characters, and at first, I was like, oh, it's a bummer when tutorials are just like YouTube links or whatever. But these actually get quite in depth and show a lot of stuff, and like really talk about like game theory, kind of with the character,
Love
and like
that.
why you would want to do that, which is a very Serlin thing. Like he, literally wrote the book on some of this stuff.
Sure.
But there's it just like it just feels just off to me,
It's wholly just strange in that I can't block low. Like when I hold down back, I just walk backwards. Like I can't crouch. That's very, very strange to me. I think this is a good game for somebody who is just getting into fighting games. If they just want to start picking something up, this is a good starting point, I think. But I think you'll learn a lot of bad habits, especially
Yeah.
with, not blocking low and things like that. But aside from that, I think it's very easy to just get in and play, obviously because, there's no special moves to remember or anything like that. You've got a button dedicated to that. You got to maybe hold a direction,
Yeah.
when you hit the button.
That
but
sounds
that's-
great.
Yeah,
That sounds really pleasant.
the thing is, I'm not a big fan of the characters. We've got like a gambling panda in there.
Oh, wait.
Here he goes. Jason,
we-
look,
The
Jason-
gambling panda is so
Jason
dumb.
has this thing against Lum, the wonderful, friendly.
Do you like the panda?
gambling
Dumbass
panda.
panda.
Yeah.
Is it okay to like the panda? Okay, we checked this out in
Don't.
early access, right? Like a year or two ago.
It's pandas.
He
are
has his
dumb.
own gambling game called Pandante.
I have a
Oh,
vague
Jesus.
memory of the
Pretty
panda being fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
He rolls around. He throws out items like Faust.
Are there watermelons?
Yeah. He
Yeah,
does
there's
tons of
watermelons.
Yes, I remember that. that. He throws watermelons at people.
That's dumb.
There's a little.
It still sounded like a pretty cool game.
little fish guy named Argagarg.
Sorry, what was that?
That's a good.
Arg.
That's a good name. It is. There's the Precise Watchmaker. He sounds cool, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, everyone has weird titles in this game, or very specific titles, I should say.
Yeah.
And like visually, I think the visuals are the game's weakest area for sure.
Oh yeah.
It looks
It's not a looker.
like sub Street Fighter 4.
It's not.
What's
Pretty.
what's
And like the font treatment is like straight out of like Marvel or something like
Yeah,
that. It
it's-
looks like identical.
But again, that's like not why you're coming to a game like
Right.
this. I guess you're coming here with a. This is like like Jason said, if you want a very basic understanding, if you're like, I want to eventually play fighting games with like I got a friend who's really good at fighting games and I don't like fighting games. I'm gonna like play this with him, and I'm sure you'd have a lot better chance playing this with him than like Street Fighter against him.
Very baseline. Was it easy to jump into? Yes.
Yeah.
Am I going to stick with it? No.
It does look like it has like those tutorials make it seem like it has some depth for
Sure.
like if there is a scene around it, like more power to them. But yeah, I think this is like very much a stepping stone game.
Get rid of that panda and we'll talk.
It'll never.
Just as an observation, there are a lot of fighting games out these days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Feels
we're
like a
in
very crowded space.
resurgence, and they're all getting make sure like now that we've hit that pre-Evo, like now they're all out in time for Evo now. So
When is Evo?
this
weekend.
Oh, God,
wow.
that's right.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
right. I just wonder, like, is there room for something like this? Because it feels like there's a new fighting game every week at this point.
Yeah, I mean, well, Rising Thunder kind of faded away.
Well,
that was
They got kind of bought out.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
That was, I would say, like the go-to for a while.
Were people into that?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Especially concept wise and like look wise.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty rad.
Robot fighting game.
Yeah.
Easy
De-
concept.
definitely space for
They've
that.
got another
Yeah.
one coming out that looks kind of similar. It's robot based. I don't know if it's like super simplified like Rising Thunder.
I could
is,
could go for some more themed fighting games. Like
Yeah.
robots or dinosaurs
Cowboys.
or I don't know. Give me something.
Les Miserables.
Oh, yes.
Hell yeah.
No, that need is being met. I
I know.
understand.
Yeah.
If you want that, you can get that.
Jean Valjean is the
Which is
Ryu.
My Little Pony.
Kind of amazing.
Dota.
Oh boy. I don't
League of
know.
Legends.
I don't know.
I would take a League of
Can you imagine a fighting game with like 110 characters?
That would
Yeah.
be crazy. I could.
How many are in Marvel 2?
Now I'm on
Probably
board.
like 60?
83.
83?
I have
serious?
no idea.
Holy shit.
Definitely a lot.
It is a lot.
Ultimate has like 57.
Yeah.
Wow. Like Alpha 3 by the end must have had dozens, right?
They had a big ass roster, because they released
CVS
more
had a pretty
like
big
when it was
roster.
brought to the PlayStation. Yeah, I forgot the actual number, but
I wonder what the largest roster. And it seems like a good science project. To impart
well,
on.
it does.
Embark on.
Fantasy Strike.
Fantasy Strike.
Fantasy
Strike.
Drew,
What's
you
the
did the
strike?
thing. You did the thing I'm
Just
trying to
said
do.
the
You
name.
said the
Oh.
name of the game. at the
Okay.
end.
You know how many emails we got this week from people saying like, "Thank you for saying the names of games." What is the pricing model on this? Is it full
I
price?
think it was
30.
Oh, okay.
$30.
All right.
Yeah, so it's a little bit cheaper.
All right. Well,
A
that's
little bit on the cheaper
something
side.
at least.
Yeah, that's true. And if you're just getting into stuff, I think it's fun. Like,
Especially,
we had a good-
especially that panda.
we had no.
It made me want to go play more Yomi, actually.
Yeah, we had a pretty good time with
It
it.
has the same. It uses the same characters from Yomi, the card game that Serlin developed,
Yeah, including the panda.
including the panda.
Yes.
He's fun. You like discard cards off the top. You play like poker
It's
with
kinda
your discard
Dumb
pile with
voice
him.
and oh jeez.
I agree. The voice is not
Yeah.
Speaking of Dota,
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I heard about a mobile game on this podcast called Dota Underlords.
Yeah. Go on.
I play around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you think?
it's weird.
Yeah.
I also
Seems to be
watched
the case.
the video you guys did on auto chess. Incomprehensible.
like,
the original mod.
The original one.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is,
Even
So
at the time, I did not understand what I was doing.
I think Dota Underlords is much more comprehensible. Like
Yes.
there's certainly it feels very much like the tutorial is telling you the bare minimum, and it expects you to dive in way deeper.
That's
to
very
figure
Dota.
it out.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really into that, but I thought it was a cool idea. I'm just still chasing the Solitaire dragon.
Oh
yeah.
Righteous Hammer. I think they're working on a new game.
Are they?
Yeah, I hear
in.
a closed beta is starting soon. So
Ooh.
Clint, get in touch.
It's the only reason you came here today.
Yeah, just to broadcast that out.
What was
I wanna play that too.
what was the 10-second pitch on Solitarica again? It's like Solitaire plus something.
Magic spells.
Magic
and-
spells.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like when you're matching cards, the cards are a color, and then you get that color magic, and then certain spells use different color magic.
And different like pricing as well.
who-
Well, I mean, the spells cost different things.
I see.
There we go.
Who are you using the magic on?
The enemies.
The enemy.
Wait.
So the
But it's
cards
someone.
represent the hit
Solitaire.
points.
Okay.
And it's not really solitaire. It's more
Okay.
like a like there's a card your card is at the bottom of the screen, and you can either match up or down with the top cards. So if you've got a 4, you could do a 3 or a 5 on the top row,
Yeah.
and the top row represents the enemy's hit points.
Okay.
Uh,
So it's
my
like-
favorite mobile game by far.
I don't know how I've never checked that out.
I've played a lot of
Probably
Solitaire.
Probably the last time you guys talked about that game, I said I was going to check it out. and Never
Yeah.
did.
I also just want to throw out how great Game Pass is.
Yep.
I am really enjoying going back into the archive and playing like 2 hours of Recore.
Yeah.
I never
Okay,
played
why not?
Recore. What's up with Recore's all right.
That's not bad.
First 2 hours of
That's not
Recore are
bad.
okay.
I bet it's better now than it was when it came out.
I just downloaded Hellblade.
Oh, dude, have you not played Hellblade?
No.
Oh, you should play Hellblade.
It
No,
looks
it's-
really
It
cool.
is short and very good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm really excited about
Yeah,
that.
Which
See that one
tier
free.
of Game Pass are you on? Are you on normal, ultimate, premium, double PC,
Normal, I think.
Xbox?
Yeah.
Okay.
Xbox.
Did you guys do that $1 deal?
Yeah,
totally.
and then
Thing was
didn't
like-
do anything with it.
Oh, well, yeah, I haven't used it yet, but I did the upgrade.
That's a great deal.
Because why not?
I also have like various. I feel like my games slot into like I have certain slots, and then there's one game per slot. Like there's a game that is there's a project that I'm working on. Like put my PC to my TV so that I can play X, or I have a project going right now where I'm trying to get my Sega Genesis working on my HD TV. Do we still call them HD TVs?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Or just TV.
Yeah.
Um,
You still on that FrameMeister?
Right.
so I'm using an OS
Oh, did you
SC?
Open source.
switch
open
off? Cool.
source scan converter.
Yeah.
My goal is to have the Genesis unmodded, but
Mhm.
play it with minimal lag at HD resolutions with wireless controllers.
Ooh, wow.
So
Okay.
I got those 8-bit DOE
Yeah.
Genesis controllers.
Those
I
are
got
not
2
too
of
bad.
them.
Yeah.
That project is in a really good spot. I'm very excited about it. And then I hooked up a PC to my TV so that I could play Subnautica.
Nice.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
that on the Epic Store sale,
Oh, yeah.
like or the free
The free. Yeah.
Dude,
thing.
Yeah.
Subnautica is awesome.
It's really fun.
It is like there's a ton of those sort of crafting games. That's the one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in a similar position. I only played 8 or 10 hours before I like dropped off for one reason or another. But like once I was in, it's that good. It's a really good mix of like calming when you want it to be calming and like, ooh, look at the cool water and fish, or insanely stressful when you
Yeah.
really want to get in there.
Yeah. And then my play while traveling game is Slay the Spire on the
Oh my
Switch.
god,
Hell yeah.
that game is
Oh, it's so good.
very good.
Yeah.
I have fallen down that rabbit hole. Yeah,
Cool.
Griftlands.
Yeah, can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's out.
Yeah, okay.
It's in early access. There's a video on the site. If people
Yeah.
wanna, it's a lot to talk about. It
Gri-
could take a while.
Griftland,
It's like-
really basically the coolest thing about it to me is they've gamified conversations and arguments.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
a Slay the Spire like.
Yes, it's a deck building game like Slay the Spire. It's from Clay, who I still to this day always want to describe as makers of Shank.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel like is a meaningless reference to most people at this
I,
point.
I got you, Brad.
No, I love that.
Because the I guess makers of Don't Starve
Don't Starve is probably
Sure.
is
I still
probably
like
the
Mark
big
of the
is the
Ninja.
actual
Or,
big reference
not
point.
Mark-
Yeah, Mark of the
Mark of
Ninja.
the Ninja. Mark-
Mark of the Ninja, Oxygen not included.
Yeah.
They made a lot of Invisible Ink. You know,
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
of that
that's-
stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Solid
it's
roster.
this is like so it's their like art style and kind of design philosophy applied to the Slay the Spire sort of card battler thing. There's combat card battling and argument card battling.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Like you have two different decks. You have a combat deck and I forget if they call it diplomacy deck or negotiation deck. So you literally are doing like word fights.
So
with people.
you'll roll up to a bar and the bartender will be there and he's like I can't remember the exact example, but he'll be like, I have a job for you. I need you to go take out this mercenary. And then you'll start arguing with him about like the pay or something, right?
Yeah, you can like try to initiate a negotiation.
You can like just
try to
take
get more
his
money
rate
out of him,
or try and negotiate,
Yeah.
and then you have a separate deck that'll do. And all the cards are called like like solid counterpoint or like it's like all the like Robert's rules of order shit, and you're like attacking. They have like this outer circle that like shows like what they're thinking and stuff, and so you can like attack specific trains of thought and stuff.
Wow.
It's
ridiculous.
And you can like have companions, and the companions will like sometimes jump into the argument and stuff. It seems like it's like I like Slay the Spire. I haven't played a ton of it, but I think this Griftlands.
This has a lot more going on than that. It's also a lot more kind of story driven because you're moving between multiple locations, talking to a bunch of people, and they all have relationships with you and with each other. And those can change based on the decisions you make, and there's some pretty crazy, profound decisions that you're faced with. Like, there's just a ton of depth.
Wow.
Like somebody that you don't even meet will not like you because you like disrespected their friend or something.
Okay.
And it's just like it seems very interwoven.
I'm trying to remember. There was that one mission that we almost did on the quick look. Like, I picked up a job where a lady was like, "Hey, this dude owes me money. Let's go beat it out of him or whatever." And we get there. And it turns out that he owes her money for a like kind of cybernetic implant that he bought from her and installed, and he doesn't have the money to pay for it. And she was like, "Well, then fuck you. I'm taking my implant back." And he was like, "But these aren't made to be removed." And she was like, "Yeah, I don't care."
Wow.
And she was just like, "Cut him open, take it." And you've got like three choices. Like you can do it, you can just do it and not argue. You can try to convince her to let him be. I forget what the other option is, but anyway, like. She had too much argument health for me to attempt to convince her.
She was resolute.
Yeah. The negotiation health is called resolve. Like she had way too much. There was no way I was going to talk her out of doing this. So I kind of had
such a cool idea.
I had no choice. I either had to walk away from the job entirely or do what she wanted. So I basically fucking cut the guy open.
Wow.
And took her gear back. Totally unrelated next event I got to in a different bar. I was fighting a boss, like another conversation fight. And he had a buff because the dude I just cut open had been spreading rumors about me. It's like, so-and-so has been spreading rumors about you. It's like -5 to whatever or whatever. Like stuff like that just shows up all over the place, like based on the different decisions you make. It's really fascinating.
I gotta check this out.
Like this kind of really complex web of relationships and different mechanics going on.
It's early access right now.
It is
right?
early access.
There's
gonna
only
be
one character.
It's going to be 3 characters, kind of Slay the Spire-ish,
Okay.
but there's only one in right now.
Okay.
It's only $15. It's on the Epic Store right now.
Okay.
It's fascinating. Like I
Yeah,
kind of dug into it just because we figured we should do a video with it, and then didn't want to stop playing it. Like it's really cool.
I got another weird one for you.
Yeah.
I just discovered a plugin, I guess you'd call it, or a service for X-Plane, the flight simulator.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still trying to get my pilot's license.
Okay.
And I'm using X-Plane a little bit just to kind of go through the motions before a flight that I have to do, because like I fly so infrequently, I want to make sure that I nail everything.
Yeah.
You didn't log any hours this morning.
No, I did not.
Pretty sure the last time you came in here, you had been in the sky.
Yeah, I was
with
trying
it,
to
like
do
a couple hours before
morning stuff for a while. But yeah, so there's so much to learn, and flight simulators can help in a lot of ways. They tell you not really to learn how to physically fly the plane in a flight simulator because the flight models aren't always accurate, so you don't want to learn any bad moves. But like you can learn how to use the GPS system, and you can learn or you can instill points in your flight where you do all your checkpoints, right? Like you can go step by step and say, all right, when I get to this altitude, then I read my checklist. Like that's all like doable in a flight simulator. Yeah, fundamentals. Good practices, things like that. But the biggest thing that's missing is communication, because you're almost always on the radio with air traffic controllers, either at an airport or like there are controllers that aren't at an airport. They're just like for a zone, right? And you're always being handed off from one to the other. And that is a tricky process because you're always having to listen. and whatever they tell you, you have to respond with. So it's like this very mentally taxing thing that you can't really practice until now.
Yeah.
So apparently there is a plugin for X-Plane where you sign up. It's like $10 a month.
Okay.
And a real live person connects to your game.
What?
And then you talk to, like, you sit at an airport and you request a taxi clearance to the runway that your plane is at. And then they tell you that you can take off there, and then they be your air traffic controller.
Role playing air traffic control.
Yeah, and I've heard, I haven't tried it yet. It's called Pilot Edge, and I've seen videos of it, but I've never tried it myself yet. But it sounds exactly like the real thing.
Good Lord.
So I just wanted to tell someone
Make a
how
video,
wild
just
that
make
is.
a video of that.
I really
yeah,
should.
that sounds great. I feel like every once in a while you'll just get on and somebody will just be like audibly plastered, just like just like yeah, you're good to go, man. Like you like what? I mean, so can you like sign up to be either party? Like what?
I don't know.
How do you get vetted for something?
I
like
don't
this?
know. I wonder if it's like off hours air traffic controllers. Because it's really specific stuff that you
like the
you-
lingo
they tell you.
alone.
The lingo, what you can and can't do. Like they have to know the altitude restrictions for whatever zone that you're in. So yeah, I don't really know how it works, but yeah, it's wild.
That is wild.
Wow.
Indeed.
And there used to be I think it still exists. There was like a community version of this called VatSim, where it was like that. I could just sign up to be an air traffic controller. I think it integrated with X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I didn't try that either, and it sounded weird. But this is like apparently people use this to actually to stay sharp. So,
are you excited about that new flight simulator?
I am
kept up with it?
Cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
I signed up for their, I don't know, it's not a beta, it was like a mailing list or something. But I just want to know more about it because another thing that, like the thing that they emphasized was the accuracy of the maps. And that's another thing that you can practice well in a flight simulator is because a lot of your navigation, like a lot of planes have GPS these days, and a lot of pilots bring like an iPad with GPS in it. But a lot of navigation is visual. So it's like, well, when I pass over this freeway, I'll know that I'm here. And then I take a right turn to this, heading or whatever. Or when I am, 90 degrees from this mountain, then I know I'm here. So being able to run through a pre-planned flight visually like that would be really, really helpful. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping they nail that, and I'm hoping that they don't pull a Microsoft Flight and make it too. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, I remember it coming out. I don't know much about it.
It was too simplified.
Very stripped down.
Yeah. So like, I don't even think anything on the dashboard. You couldn't push any buttons,
Man,
Brad.
Screw that.
Yeah.
What's the point?
So
If you can't accidentally eject on the runway, what's the point?
Exactly. So, but they're calling it Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm hoping that it's
That certainly has a certain amount of like cachet to it when you're invoking that name.
And like having the Microsoft backing behind it, I think would really, because like X-Plane and I think a lot of simulators are like passion projects, or they started that way, or they're really small teams and they're not like, they can't throw a lot of development horsepower at them. So a lot of them are only like single threaded. So you can't really take advantage of your computer's horsepower like you can with, I don't want to say a properly made game, but like a game with more, I guess, budget to spend on
The resources of a large multinational corporation.
Exactly. Yeah. So, cautiously optimistic.
Cool. Yeah. It's powered by the cloud, I understand.
Yeah. In
They got that cloud.
real time 4K,
Yeah,
whatever that means.
Sure it means something to somebody.
Don't know.
Yep.
All right. That's a big old stack of video games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why don't we kick back and take a breather for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and talk about some other stuff. All right, Drew, pop quiz. See
Okay.
how much you remember. Next segment is
The news?
boom.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's like riding a bike. It is, in fact, the news. Pretty light news week. I've got a handful of headlines here. Let's whip through them real fast here. We talked about the Joy-Con drift issue with the Joy-Cons last week. That stuff was like really coming to a head.
And in grand Nintendo fashion, they announced something immediately after we talked about it.
We did it, guys!
I think it was. Yep, that's right.
We did it!
Our work here is done. I think it was the same day as the
It was either the
podcast?
same day or the day
Or maybe
after.
early the next day or something. One Patrick Klepek of Vice got his hands on an internal memo being circulated at Nintendo.
From his uncle.
I will read. Yes, his uncle at Nintendo passed him. I'll read some of the memo
I'll see you at Thanksgiving.
verbatim. Customers will no longer be requested to provide proof of purchase for Joy-Con repairs. Additionally, it is not necessary to confirm warranty status. If a customer requests a refund for a previously paid Joy-Con repair, confirm the prior repair and then issue a refund. Those are instructions to their customer support people. So yeah, basically they are going to now start fixing Joy-Cons, period.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Doesn't matter where or how you bought it, whether it's still in warranty or not.
Do you know if that includes
And
like
for
the fact that mine kind of detach a little easily? They just like slide out.
I don't know.
Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you should give it a shot.
Maybe
and
I
see.
should give it a shot.
After this podcast, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Just live stream that call. It's public service. I can tell you from experience that Nintendo support people are very friendly
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and helpful.
If the customer is Ben Pack, do the following.
I will tell you, actually, after we put up that Joy-Con mod video, I found out that there are aftermarket replacement little latches for the thing
Oh, sure.
made out of metal
really?
instead of plastic.
That's cool.
If you want like a really good secure
I
fit on your
do.
Joy-Cons.
I also ordered
of.
the thing Will mentioned last week, the little handles.
Yeah.
I like
You
those
ordered
a
one?
lot,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can just pick it up at Target as well. But yeah, those are great. I've got a set.
What does that do? Like make it
It's just a grip.
more
Yep.
grippier?
It looks like sort
Adds
of the
handles to
the
the side
handles
of
on
the-
like a
Okay.
DualShock 4 or
Instead
something.
of just like gripping a flat plane.
Yeah.
gripping
Yeah.
a tiny little pack of gum.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love handles.
Yeah, obviously this issue was getting a lot of attention in the press. All of a sudden, it was kind of coming to a head. But I have
Class
to,
action
have to imagine that class action lawsuit that was filed is the thing that they were like, we should just get ahead of this. And
So how does that work? Like, if a class action lawsuit is already in the works, I know I'm talking to the Giant Bomb's legal
Yes.
experts here.
Go ahead.
Who could speak on this on authority? But like, since it's a class action lawsuit, but it's started by one party, can that one party drop the suit without?
Yeah, I assume they can drop the suit at any time, but
Yeah.
I do know that the firm that filed the suit was actively soliciting other people to join the class.
Okay.
So I don't know that they had like kind of the critical mass that they needed
Huh.
to really get this thing going
So
yet.
yeah, maybe this is just another like.
Yeah, they straight up had a form on their website you could fill out to say like, yeah, me too. This is also affecting me. Here's my name.
Yeah,
Add me to the list. So I don't.
Americans love doing that recently.
Yeah. Sometimes there's no recourse. Anyway, yeah, it sounds like it's pretty much open season now. If you've got Joy-Con problems, give them a call and they will take care of it for you. And that's
Any of you
good.
guys have it?
No, I don't know anybody. Well,
My
I
last
know,
Switch had it.
I know of people in the press, obviously, who have like written articles about it, but I don't know anybody here. You did have it?
My last Switch had it.
Really?
Yeah. On the left Joy-Con, it would start to just very, it's not all the time, and then if I like detached it and reattached it, it would snap it back.
I wonder if it's luck of the draw if you get a defective one or not, or if it's just a wear and tear thing of like everybody's will start doing this
Yeah, I'm
after you use
wondering.
the stick enough. I don't know.
Oh, I forgot to mention this during Fire Emblem.
Sorry, but I will say you are a stick-based Super Mario Brothers player, so your sticks get a lot of.
And I play handheld mode so frequently. Oh, I don't think I don't use a pro controller ever.
Yeah.
Do you guys know like about? Are there reports out there about like Switch battery quality of life just getting really bad after a while? Because I was on the train this morning for under an hour and I went from full charge to you need to charge immediately.
I would say
Wow.
that game probably is
that
just
game is
super
probably
taxing.
super taxing, but
Yeah,
like
if I had to
under an
guess.
hour of
Yeah, that's
battery life
terrible.
is-
Wow.
it's rough.
But I mean, that's like a 6-month-old Switch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine unless you just have a defective.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad though.
Are you gonna look into like some aftermarket? Like,
Yeah, there's a ton of like battery packs for it, so I might have to. Or maybe I'll just throw it away and get a mini.
there you go.
I heard I can maybe pre-order soon.
Yes, I understand.
Right now.
Pre-orders have launched for the Switch Lite,
Yeah,
so
breaking news.
get out there and get that thing if you want it.
I want that thing.
Do you?
I'm not gonna get it.
No.
I already have
Yeah.
a Switch, but like I
It's
want it.
cool.
I like tiny consoles.
It's
Do you have
cool.
a color that caught your eye? Have you seen them?
I like the orange and purple.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Those are just the Joy-Cons, not the mini, right? The orange.
Oh, right. The mini.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, there's
mini's
no purple light.
yellow.
Yeah.
The light is gray, yellow, and turquoise.
Right.
Oh.
God, the purple one would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They should do that.
Turquoise would be fun. But yeah, tiny consoles. I want to play the Playdate. Has anyone touched a Playdate?
No.
I like a few people have gotten their hands on it.
Okay.
But it's pretty. I believe we have maybe exchanged messages with them at some point
Yeah.
about that thing. So
Turn the crank.
eventually,
Crank it up.
the thing does look
You
kind of.
can't crank it on the podcast, Jason.
Whoa.
So, hand check.
As you alluded to earlier with the Bethesda account stuff, some stuff happened over the weekend. They put out the original Doom games on Switch on Friday
Yeah.
and other consoles, but Switch. Yes. Exactly. Switch is obviously the one everybody seems to care about, although it even came out on phones. It's just kind of a big new blast of Doom. And then people fired it up and immediately saw that you have to log into Bethesda.net to play those old-ass 25-year-old Doom games.
God.
And apparently, I'm not clear on the exact mechanics of this, but if you lost connection, it would either... I don't think it would boot you out of the game.
I mean,
but
Doom isn't always an online game.
Of course, obviously. They invented that.
Yeah.
There was footage going around of playing Doom on the Switch, not connected to the internet, and just every 20 seconds the game's stopping and a big
Son
fat
of a
login
bitch.
prompt popping up. It kind of turned into a thing. People were not pleased.
Yeah.
Well, it should. Yeah,
about this
that's
stuff.
ridiculous.
So they've gotten out there in the last couple of days and said, we didn't mean for this to be so intrusive. This was supposed to be for optional features. We're going to fix it. So
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
take them at their word or not. But this did not go over well with people.
No.
Also, I haven't looked into it too deeply, but apparently, Doom on the Switch is almost 500 meg,
Really?
and that game fit on 3 floppy disks back in the day.
Right.
Did you see they also registered the trademark for Doom 64 on
Yes, I did see that.
PlayStation and PC?
It would be
Wait,
kind of
what?
cool for that. Doom 64 is kind of its own weird thing.
Yeah.
It would be cool for that to come out on other platforms, as strange as that is. Yeah, kind of a messy release. But
Not a lot of fan. It kind of happened.
yeah,
and-
well, QuakeCon was this
Well, yeah,
weekend, so
QuakeCon
that
was a
was
big
kind of
surprise.
that happened after the keynote there. Not a whole lot else got announced.
And it's available now.
Yeah.
Nothing on Quake Champions?
I don't believe the game was mentioned, or if it was, I didn't hear anything about it.
They made
Okay.
it more free.
I don't know.
They're paying people.
They're paying people.
I don't know, man.
Is Quake Champions the Vita of...
Of Quake games,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm unqualified.
just- we
It's
just
out
don't-
there and no one talks about
We're
it.
not. We're not manufacturing physical
Some people
cartridges
love
for
it.
Quake Champions anymore.
Some people love it. It's a lot of visual novels.
Yes. There are a lot of visual novels in
I
Quake
would for
Champions.
sure play a Quake visual novel.
Dude, yes, please. I don't know. Yeah, I wonder how long that game's got left at this point.
Is Unreal Tournament still?
No, that
Oh,
kind
it's-
of.
That
You
became
can't play that
Fortnite.
anymore.
As soon as Fortnite happened, they were like, "We're gonna set this aside
Yeah.
and focus
Can
on
you
the thing that's
Play
making."
it? Wasn't it free?
Yeah, it was always free.
Yeah.
It was free.
I think it was gonna be free up until they finished it or considered it done, and then they were
Yeah.
gonna start charging for it
Okay.
or something along those lines.
The coolest thing about that was they were just doing all those live streams of just hey, we're making the game and
Yeah.
talking about making the game, and you can ask
Yeah.
questions and stuff.
And they were gonna have all that elaborate modding support for it. It
Mhm.
was tied into the Unreal Store and all that stuff. It was a cool idea, and then Fortnite happened.
But then Fortnite happened.
Um,
The gaming industry was never the same.
yeah. I guess we should talk about this tournament now,
Yeah.
since we're talking about Fortnite.
Fortnite.
A 16-year-old has won $3 million playing Fortnite.
Boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is
All
this the
the-
first? Is this the first?
So
like-
much Raven's Revenge you could buy with that.
I'm sorry. Fortnite World
World
Cup.
Cup.
Okay, I was gonna say I couldn't remember the exact name of the tournament. Is this the first one? Is this the first World Championship? I know they've been working on kind of the
Yeah.
Fortnite pro scene for a while.
So this is the culmination of when they announced that 100 million
Okay,
year of
yes.
esports thing,
Yes.
where to qualify for this, they had tournaments all over the last year, where all over the world, in China and Europe and US, and they would take 10 people from each of these tournaments to qualify for this one. And I guess the big stories were it was the most watched thing on Twitch ever,
Wow, really?
beating out League by a couple 100,000.
Jeez.
and like none of the streamers really. Kind of the big talk of like what I saw from people who followed Fortnite is like people like your ninjas and kind of the names that people like us would associate with Fortnite were like very underperforming. Like Ninja didn't even qualify.
Wow.
Well, talking about video games while playing them and playing video games.
Yeah. And those people are very
Different
good
disciplines.
still, but like the level of like competitiveness like you see in this game is insane. From they were saying like there was a dude Tifu, I think I don't know for sure how to pronounce it, but he was probably the streamer that made it the furthest. He did like okay. But like there are interviews and stuff of him talking. He's like, yeah, I'm like 24, but these kids, he's like, because the top 10 were like 16, 15, 17, 16.
I'm looking at a story on Engadget. I'll just read here. The 5th placed player in the solos competition from Argentina, who won $900,000, is 13 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. Jesus.
Like it's legit like kids who are winning these Fortnite competitions, which is crazy because like even in like the FGC and stuff, top players are like 19, 20, like
if even
like Daigo's like an old ass man and still whooping ass.
Yeah, I mean I remember when Fear in the Dota scene was referred to as like the old man of Dota, and he was like 28 or something. Fuck off.
I'm curious, were all these players playing on PCs, like mouse and keyboard style?
Yeah, somebody got banned for screen peeking.
Oh shit!
Yeah, somebody straight up got disqualified for like video evidence of him just like straight up looking at other people's computers to figure out where they were and stuff.
You got to put the cardboard on.
Just to hoop it all the way out.
Do you know if the entire prize pot or prize pool came out of Epic's pocket, or did they do any kind of Dota style like the battle pass contributes to the?
I don't know. I know they announced that 100 million was coming from them.
Okay.
Which makes you wonder.
100 million.
Yeah, over the course of a year, just in prizes, and then you have to imagine how much they're making if they can afford to spend that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. First place, Kyle Giersdorf, better known as Booga,
Yeah.
won $3 million.
He seemed like a good kid. He seemed pretty like shook, obviously. I watched some of it. It was really well produced. I gotta say, for like a first, like this is our first time doing a big event. Well, they've done other tournaments, but like for the first World Cup, like really good commentary, really good camera work, just
nice,
really polished.
One interesting fact here is that every single one of the 100 players in the final match was guaranteed at least $50,000.
That's
like
nuts.
if you made it to that final match, you were going to take home a decent amount of cash just for getting there, which is cool.
Also,
Also, there
the
was
international.
Yeah.
How is it structured, the tournament?
There were heats, and so you got like a certain number of points for a win and a certain number of points per kill.
Okay.
And so you're you got like, I don't know, these are made up numbers, but like 10 points for a win and 1 point per kill. And then like, people were set to, I believe the structure, so there was a solos tournament and a duos tournament, but they were structured similarly of like, the top winners from each of these heats are going to progress. And eventually it's like down to a top 10, I want to say. But yeah, it was cool because it feels like it's been long enough in the battle royale as esports scene that they've figured out a good balance of trying to keep it so it's not like, oh, I'm just camping to win like the first PUBG tournament where the guy who won by just sitting in the circle healing over and over again because he would always get like a top 3 finish and then he just averaged 3rd place long enough, which was better than anyone else.
I didn't realize that's how that went. That's a bad look for.
It was a bad look. It was hilarious, but that was like 2 years ago. So they've kind of figured out their rules since.
So was the final match just a battle royale and whoever won?
No, I think it came down
points-based?
to points over multiple heats. I didn't watch the end. I watched like a chunk of the middle.
They also there was a separate tournament for creative mode. And the top team in that also took home more than 1.3 million.
Whew.
So a lot of money going around. And then my favorite phase of the esports story began mostly kind of today from what I was seeing, where all these figures start flying around where it's like, oh, the top Fortnite player made more than Tiger Woods made winning the Masters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
If you want to really have a fun time, go find the ESPN tweet about this
Oh,
and read the
Jesus.
replies.
Oh, wow.
yeah. At least at this point, everyone's at least heard of Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because like when Street Fighter or whatever was on,
Right.
people were
StarCraft.
like, yeah,
They
what is this
could not
for?
deal with it.
You know, Brad, take a guess. What do you think the international prize pool is at right now?
Oh, I know it's high. I saw some. Have they already surpassed last year's?
Oh yeah,
Really?
oh yeah.
Huh.
They are far. We're not far.
The whole thing, you mean for the whole tournament?
Yeah,
Is it like over 30?
it's $32 million as of this morning.
Wow.
With first place expected to get now 2.5 million per player.
Wow. Wow. Shit. That's serious.
Yeah.
Dota's still big, huh?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there was kind of a mass
They get
migration away from it among people I know all kind of at the same time, but
they get better at selling people things every year.
Okay.
yes, that is for sure.
I've seen just anecdotally traveling around CS:GO is
Yeah.
sort
Oh,
of
yeah.
the
Huge.
It's
huge.
been the like
common
the
denominator.
solid number like 3 to 4 esport forever.
Yeah.
It's just like always there.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to hop into, you know, like
It's pretty fun.
yeah.
I played a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People love that DE dust.
Mm-hmm.
I think the moment that I knew I was old was when I found out that DE Dust 2 is what everybody plays. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
really? No, fuck that.
Yeah.
They changed it last year for like the first time ever.
You can't do that.
Yeah, they like moved a box. Everyone was
Blasphemy.
Scandalous. Let's see. Microsoft has detailed they're doing another redesign of the Xbox One dashboard as they do periodically.
Is it fixed yet?
It looks better.
Is it fixed yet?
if I move to the left, how
Like, dude,
fast
that
does
is-
it move to the
that-
left?
That is
Right.
the $1 million question. I don't care how they change the layout of that thing. If I press right on the D-pad and the cursor does not immediately move right, then it's a complete waste of effort. I will have to
Quick look.
get my,
coming soon.
get my hands on this thing before I can say for sure.
Yeah.
I will say they got rid of the tabs at the top. It's all consolidated onto the one screen now, and there's a lot more room for recently played games and stuff, so that stuff looks good. The big deal to me, though, is that they are ripping Cortana out,
Yeah.
Oh no,
meaning that finally
Ouch.
you can no longer talk to your Xbox One.
they need her all for infinite.
I guess so. Just remember how big a deal the voice command shit was back when that thing came out.
Who am I going to talk to at home now?
I don't know what I got for you.
I knew some people who swore by it. They just walked in the
I
room,
use
Xbox on.
I use the voice commands a fair amount for
Oh,
like
really?
navigating video and stuff. You didn't
Huh.
feel like grabbing the remote. Like that worked
I can
fine.
see that. Yeah.
I guess there's some mobile app that they've got out now that you can still talk to, and it'll issue commands that way if you really want to go through the hassle.
No, thank you.
But yeah, kind of end of an era, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can't even plug a headset in and talk to the thing anymore.
Jesus.
Although, to be fair, if that frees up more resources to make the cursor move faster in the dashboard,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I am all for it. I think that's going into alpha testing nowish, so hopefully that'll be out soon.
Suppose you have to be in the insider
Yeah,
program.
yes. What is it? It's the alpha ring or the alpha skip ahead ring.
Mm.
Don't ask me.
Yep.
Lastly, thanks to the story on Eurogamer, I have found out that a new Garfield Cart is on the way,
Yeah, baby.
Finally.
coming out this November.
What's it called?
Garfield Cart 2.
Garfield Cart Furious Racing.
Furious.
Furious, not furious.
Furious?
Well, it's spelled like Furious. It could be Furious, but
I'm going to go with Furious.
I'd say they should have maybe put an extra R in there or
They
a
should have
hyphen
put an
Yeah.
extra R
if they
in
really
there.
wanted people to pronounce it differently.
It's a weird time where I don't know what's a bigger joke: the Bubsy games or the Garfield games.
Yeah, I don't know. This is $30 though. Also, it's coming to consoles. Like,
Okay.
I think that first game was Steam only, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
and it was like super cheap.
It
but
was
this
super
is-
cheap. It was like $1 at one point. They added multiplayer way late into
Yeah.
the life cycle.
This is a full-on $30 product coming to Switch, PS4, and Xbox.
Watch your ass, Sonic and Crash.
Also, it's coming out right around like 3 days before Death Stranding, so
Oh,
That's
wow.
going to be a
That's
tough
fine.
choice.
that'll be a week.
So what you're saying is everyone else is going to be playing Death Stranding, and I'm going to be playing Garfield Cart.
I mean, you know where the action is.
I know where I am on the totem. I know what games I get assigned and what games other people get assigned.
That's right.
Do kids know Garfield?
I guess
That's a good question.
Is it still-
There hasn't been like a movie in a while.
Is it
or
still
cartoon
in comic
No,
strips?
Is there a
they've got
Garfield
yeah,
cartoon?
yeah, it's 3D.
Okay, it is still in comic strips.
Okay.
Jim Davis is still out
Still
there.
doing it?
I mean,
on
I
that
think the
hustle.
merch makes like some obscene amount of money every
Oh
year.
yeah, his merch is where
it's
he
okay.
I
makes
think it's like almost $1 billion business or something, just selling Garfield crap.
But yeah, to boomers probably and like people my age maybe. Ironically, 70% of their sales are to my parents. Unironically, 30% are to me. Ironically,
Hey man, loathing of Monday crosses
that's true.
all ages.
That will be the ultimate
Cross-generational.
thing that binds us.
That's it for news. Not a ton happening this week.
Not bad.
Still kind of in the dog days of summer, I suppose.
Good job,
Yeah.
Brad.
I do have a lot of emails here, however.
Oh, there we go.
And I'm going to read some.
Emails is the last segment we do on the show. I
Oh,
don't know if
okay.
anyone gave you, like,
I
a
figured you
primer.
proved yourself. You established your bona
Yeah.
fides already, so I wouldn't keep putting your feet to the fire.
Just a reminder in case you forgot.
Okay, thanks.
Or in
Appreciate that.
case this is your first giant bombcast.
And if that's the case, where would they send their emails?
Bombcast at giantbomb.com,
That's
Brad.
That's right. That's where these emails came in from. First email comes in from Dow.
Okay.
Your talk of boiling energy drinks
Ha!
reminded me
Oh,
of
no.
the surprisingly good Mountain Dew pastries I ate.
What?
Not surprisingly, I had doubts when I first ate them, but they tasted okay. If there was one soft or energy drink to coat your pastry in, what would it be?
Okay. No, I
Coconut
gotta go,
bang.
I feel
gotta
like
go
Maybe
back
need a
to the
soul.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I feel like a little more information about exactly how the Mountain Dew was involved in the
Yeah.
pastry would be helpful.
like in the mix or
Yeah,
something,
like,
or is it
uh,
like dipped in it?
Is it in the batter or is it in
I-
the icing?
Maybe you've got like a cream filling, like a Mountain Dew cream
Oh
filling.
God, no!
Mm.
Oh,
Well, I mean, you make pretzels by like boiling them first, so you
Yeah.
can boil them in a
I think that might
in a
be
Mountain Dew
it.
bath.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Drew, you look concerned.
Well, I'm just thinking here. Like, I think you could probably see. I could see a reduction of like Dr. Pepper
like a glaze.
being a glaze would
Yeah,
be pretty good.
Sure.
You use it in marinades all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's true.
yeah.
You guys ever have Manzanita Sol? That like
Oh. Yeah, yeah.
Mexican apple soda?
Mhm.
I feel like that could be a good, nice, like on a bear claw or something.
Huh.
Yeah.
Or a fritter.
Interesting. God.
I'm
I
just
like
gonna
the word
say
fritter. I'm sorry.
this email is inspiring.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, could you reduce it and then maybe crystallize it and break it up into like a powder and then like
Oh,
Ooh.
okay. I
you
got
know
it.
like
Now we're
dip,
talking.
you know like
Those
like
sprinkles?
sugar encrusted
yeah.
something.
So you reduce it, but add gelatin to it,
Okay.
and then from there you can you get the cubes, put it inside the pastry, and then you got like a little soup dumpling going.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, almost like a lava cake,
Oh,
Jesus.
but
Okay.
with Mountain Dew.
I would take a Code Red over a regular in that regard.
How about like an orange soda and chocolate?
Okay.
Ooh,
You know,
Okay,
chocolate
sure.
orange. That's a good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going what are those cookies that have like the jelly in the middle and they're like soft on the outside?
Like the shortbread ones.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
I'm going with like a shortbread cookie with a Baja Blast
Oh, no.
jelly in the middle.
I think I can make that.
Cream soda, you could probably do a lot with.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Everyone forgets about cream soda. I love cream
Totally.
Yeah.
My grandpa would always have it in the fridge. It was so good.
soda. Yeah.
I don't know what the hell we talked about last week that inspired this raft of emails, but continuing with the same theme. Justin from Florida. A good friend of mine graduated from a culinary institute and used his skills in the most obvious way possible. He made Mountain Dew Gamer Fuel corn dogs.
What?
This was done.
a thing already?
Sorry.
This was done on the release day of Halo 4, and he bought a ludicrous supply of soda and decided to get creative with it. He boiled the soda down to a syrup.
I almost don't want to hear this.
He boiled the soda down to a syrup and added it to his homemade corn dog batter and fried them up. They were obscenely delicious.
No.
What?
They were not.
He had also made fresh French
Wow.
fries and his own recipe for a fry sauce that really brought the whole Halo 4 release party experience together. I don't know how he doesn't tell us what is in the fry sauce, but
Probably Doritos.
Uh,
I'm sure it's Doritos.
Don't worry, Ben. Don't worry.
I mean,
What's the-
so
Is this also inspiring you guys?
the corn breading is a little sweet.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
All I'm saying is this is too close.
Uh-oh. Two.
some ideas that
no.
have been floating around here.
Am I stealing your thunder?
No, if anything, it's building up to it, and we're gonna
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
Giantbomb.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still have the hot dog toaster?
No.
No,
That
we
actually
just
just came
talked
up a week or
about
two
it.
ago.
Really?
For the first time in years.
I think you
it-
asked about it.
I think, what was the answer? I think it got so gummed up that somebody
Yeah.
just tossed it.
Yeah.
And I think
eventually.
that was like maybe when we moved offices
Yeah.
in Whiskey.
yeah, I think Jeff was saying it maybe never made it.
I think
here.
I don't
I
think
think
it ever
somebody
made it to
looked at it
CBS.
as we were moving stuff out and just said like, nah.
It's
We're-
just, it
we're
got
good.
used too much.
Yeah.
Like, frankly,
When?
Who
I don't
know
Jeff.
who was using the hot dog toaster. I don't
Jeff
remember
denied
that.
all knowledge of toasting hot dogs in the office.
I bet it was Ryan.
Yeah, probably.
But did you know, was it upstairs? It wasn't in the
Uh,
basement, surely.
I think it was.
God, who the fuck was cooking hot dogs down there? And I never noticed.
I seem to
Kessler.
recall it near like the podcast table.
Is all Kessler.
Maybe up on
Uh.
or did we move it to the kitchen?
That's what I mean. Maybe it was in the upstairs.
Maybe it was Kessler.
That is possible.
I am starting this rumor.
If it was upstairs, that is a possibility. Oh, the hot dog toaster. All right. This is maybe the last food email. I'm not sure.
Oh.
We'll see. I can't
now.
remember.
For now, until next week.
They all sort of mush together. Brandon from Sydney. Here in Australia, Domino's Pizza are selling a pizza and gaming bundle, which includes the Final Fantasy XIV Complete Edition, 3 pizzas, garlic bread, and a drink for $30 cheaper than just the game costs on Steam.
Rad.
Dude, I mean, this is arguably
Wait,
better.
made a
$30
mistake.
less than it
Cheaper
costs
than
on
it
Let
costs
me,
on
let, me,
Steam?
let me read it again, just to be clear. This includes the Final Fantasy XIV Complete Edition,
Okay.
3 pizzas, garlic bread, and a drink for $30 cheaper than just the game costs on Steam.
The Ultimate Edition, presumably.
Or Complete Edition.
Complete Edition.
Due to the
Wow.
combination of the zeitgeist around Shadowbringers right now, the fact that it's a pretty good deal, and being amused by the ridiculous notion of ordering a video game from a pizza chain, I bought it.
I
Hell
would
yeah.
totally buy that.
My question is, what is the weirdest way you've ever purchased a game?
That's got to be up there.
That's pretty up there. Also, what are they delivering? A code?
Yeah,
like
it
a-
must
just handing
Probably
you a-
printed somewhere.
Handing you? Is it on your receipt? Check your receipt for the
It's
Shadowbringers
under
code.
the box. Like you
Yeah.
lift up the box and it's there.
man,
It's
got
spelled
Pizza
out
Hut used
I
to
got
pepperoni.
include
cheese
those
stuck to
demo
my
discs.
code.
Pizza Hut used to have those demo discs.
Did they?
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
This says
That's how Demo Day restarted.
Final Fantasy 14 Online Complete Edition bundle, $60.
Hmm.
So
That's
he
a
did
pretty
get it for
good
30.
deal.
This is Australia.
Granted, this is
though?
Australia. It may be more there.
Right.
True.
Because Australia
Oh yeah,
prices
games
are
cost $1 billion in Australia.
jacked up, and yeah, that's a
3 pizzas.
That's
It's
a
got
hell-
to be
Three
like medium
pizzas.
pizzas.
That's a hell of a-
3 medium, 2
pizza.
toppings.
That's-
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say.
that's quite a Friday night.
Yeah.
3 pizzas in Final Fantasy 14.
I mean, I got a really fantastic game in a box of checks.
Yeah,
Sure.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you know they're remastering this?
Did they do it yet?
I
Chex
don't know.
Quest?
I don't think it's out.
Okay,
I think they said they're putting all 3 out together, remastered.
I would play that.
I think I've mentioned this before, but the day that the 3 Burger King 360 games came out, I had taken a red eye to the East Coast, and my cousin graciously picked me up at 6 a.m. from the airport, and I said, let's go to Burger King.
Yeah.
I gotta buy video games.
Literally rolled up to the drive-up window at Burger King at like 6:30 in the morning and bought 3 Xbox games
Drive-through?
through the delivery window. I
get
don't,
the
I
food?
don't
That's really
think I got
good.
any food. I think we went to Bojangles. I think I bought the games and then we went to Bojangles. I could be right. I forget about the food part.
That's the best answer to
And
those
I've also
questions.
never opened any of those games. So
I don't ever think I
Collector's
bought a
items.
video game not just from like.
Hmm.
I did get a. Oh no! Yeah, I think I got one from Scholastic once.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
like
They offered games?
Seeing a video game in a
Whoa.
Scholastic. It was like some PC educational game, but
Sure.
still,
Yeah.
it was a fucking video
The
game.
Logical Journey of the Zumbinis.
Oh no! It was. I think it was like a Amazon River, kind of like first person. What's the
El Dorado. What?
No, what's the classic school game where you're trying to make your way west?
Oregon
Trail?
Trail.
It's kind of an Oregon Trail, but on the Amazon River
Okay.
Okay.
game that I played a lot of.
Wait, going back to energy drinks. Did you
Please.
guys talk about Rich Energy?
On the after show, we talked about rich energy a
Okay.
little
Rich
bit.
energy?
How did that come out or come up? Because we've been talking
A
about.
caller called in about it because we
Okay.
had been talking about weird, and we had gotten onto the Bang Energy's CEO's weird social media presence, and they're
Okay.
like, if you like that, check out Rich Energy, which I heard has rebranded.
They have, yes.
Yeah.
They're now Lightning Volt.
That sounds way worse.
Yes. Also, there's also already a Volt energy drink. So, yeah, that is a saga we've been covering for months on
Because
Shift
they had a
F1.
pretty heavy F1 presence.
Yeah,
seemingly.
I mean they basically started to that like their only marketing strategy was to sponsor a Formula One team before they even
that's
had a
it?
product.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like to get brand presence out there.
It's a total like Fire Festival style grift. It's so strange.
Crazy.
For more on that, Shift F1 podcast about
Ah.
Formula One cars.
Sounds good.
This person
Brad's already shaking his head.
literally wrote, "Have fun pronouncing that after their name." And now I'm all self-conscious. VEGARD.
I think it's the last name that might.
Oh, dude, I'm not even trying. This person is Norwegian, so somebody.
VEGARD.
Yeah,
Vigard.
from Norway.
That's good.
Okay,
Vigard.
I'll go with that.
Vigard.
Also, I was wrong. There are totally more food emails. Since you discussed turning the podcast into a show about food, I humbly submit a question to the Giant Snack Cast. My great weakness is unhealthy deep-fried food.
Beautiful.
As such, I am making a pilgrimage from Norway to the motherland.
America?
I'm visiting,
Mother.
although, well, I'm visiting San Francisco for a few days before going on a road trip. What is the greatest, most unhealthy food I absolutely should experience while visiting?
Oh,
In San Francisco.
In San Francisco?
Well, it's not, he says he's going on a road trip, so
I'm
I
assuming
guess-
just like classic American.
yeah.
Well, if it's fried
mean-
food specifically,
Yeah.
most unhealthy would probably be a fried stick of butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, try to hit a county fair.
Yes, County
Yeah.
Fair is definitely the place to find the most obscene fried.
Yo, there's
I
monstrosities.
really love though a fried Snickers. I think
Yes,
I've tried
fried,
a lot of
fried Snickers
stuff.
is one of the best things
That
I've ever
is
eaten.
legitimately
It is.
Isn't there
It
a
isn't
carnival food restaurant here in town?
Straw.
Yes.
There
What
you
the
go.
are you serious?
Yeah,
Hayes
you
Valley.
can. So you can get a burger that the buns are donuts.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
we go. Go to
And
that
there's
restaurant.
there's a cocktail that like they just put cotton candy into a glass and then pour
Yes.
the cocktail over it and it
Oh,
dissolves.
I've had some of that.
Yeah,
There used to be
you can do
a
that.
food stand by Geneva called Batter Up that would sell a deep fried stick of butter and
Oh,
a
jeez.
bunch of deep fried stuff, but now it's gone.
I'm going to suggest you very specifically go to a Jack in the Box and you get one of the munchie meals, which comes with
So good though.
regular and curly fries, 2 tacos,
Oh, right.
and right there, I think that's the best fried food offering from fast food is the 2 tacos and the curly fries from Jack in the Box. The sandwich you get is irrelevant. It's like they got one that the buns. It's like a chicken sandwich, but the buns are grilled cheese. That one's pretty good.
Oh,
What
sounds
else?
Good.
For my money, you cannot beat a local fish place in the South because it is entirely possible to order like 5 different items and have every single one of them be fried.
Just a big brown plate.
whether it's like oysters or fish or French fries or hush puppies, like
Hush
you can get an
puppies.
entire plate of shrimp all fried,
Yeah.
100% battered and fried.
Get some pork rinds.
If you really want a very touristy San Francisco fried food experience, you could go to Pier 39 and go to Bubba Gumps.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Get the bucket of boat trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes. That sounds pretty good.
Go to a Red Lobster too while you're at it. Just
Oh boy.
the shrimp at Red Lobster, not bad. Don't get the lobster, get the shrimp.
I looked up.
That's my tip.
I
Get the
looked,
cheddar biscuits.
Yeah.
I looked up
Gotta
this.
get those.
I looked up this straw place.
Yeah.
Our famous donut burger, the Ringmaster.
It's a little fancy, the place.
Yeah,
Strong.
Yeah.
it does look a bit.
It's a little foo-foo,
I'm
but
more
it's
into-
very bad for you.
I'm more into that
That's what you're looking for.
spot at Daly City that has the In-N-Out and the Krispy Kreme right next to each other, and you go,
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and then
Yeah.
right up the
Oh,
hill is a
that's our-
hospital.
Just combine.
Yeah.
That's our in and out.
Yeah.
We only did the combo once though, and I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's why a bunch of Filipino people have gout. I'm saying it. If you go to South San Francisco, if you go to the Seafood City there, which is an Asian supermarket, inside is a place called Crispy Town, where I'll just let you imagine, but their main thing that they sell is fried chicken skin by the pound,
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
fried calamari. It's great. It's great. It's fantastic. Over the weekend, I had
Whoa.
fried chicken skin nachos, which was
Oh, man.
fantastic.
Wow.
My heart hurt afterwards.
Shit.
It's like fried chicken skin with like nacho cheese on it.
Oh,
It's fantastic.
If your road trip is to Los Angeles, you could go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Very true. You ever go to that Fuddruckers near in Daly City?
Oh, that's
Is
gone.
Is it gone?
It's been gone.
What?
It's replaced with a dialysis center.
They just walked there and they put their hand on the ground and were like, too many people were hurt here. We need to change this.
You're talking about is the one on that strip next to that theater,
Yep.
movie theater? Oh
Yep.
man,
I would go to the Fuddruckers next to California Extreme.
Are they still
when I went
around?
there every year.
like I hadn't seen a
Yeah.
Fuddruckers for like 25 years after the one near
Yeah,
where I
they're
lived,
still
where I grew
around.
up, closed. I didn't know they still existed. In
There's one in Vacaville.
okay.
It's the only time I ever had a Monte Cristo, which is another thing you should get on your trip. Which
They shit. I don't know if I can pull that menu back up.
if you don't know, is a ham and cheese sandwich that is deep fried and then coated with powdered sugar and served with jam to dip into.
that straw place has a fried chicken and waffle Monte Cristo
Oh, man.
on the menu.
We do this podcast too close to lunch.
Yeah. But also, nobody should eat any of the things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to San Francisco, you should get a Mission Burrito. That's pretty.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fried, but that is a must.
Yeah, definitely get a
What
nice
you
But
can- fried.
But you can get them fried.
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where?
Who fries a burrito around here?
Oh shit! I forgot what it's called.
Oh my
I forgot
God.
the name
I
of the
feel
place.
like El Coyote would do that because they do the California
I
burritos
swear,
too.
I swear to God, it was just like a dumb like burrito express or something like that, and it was a deep fried.
It might be El Burrito
Burrito.
Express.
Oh, really?
Underdogs is a good taco joint here.
Yes.
Yes. They do like a hard shell taco that's covered in a soft tortilla, which is fantastic. A poop ton of guac. It's great.
Don't they fry?
I don't. I don't ever want to hear the phrase "a poop ton of guac" again. Please.
It would actually been less vulgar if you said shit.
Oh,
But it's so
man.
good.
I think they fry them, don't they? Don't they have like a crispy taco?
Yes.
Okay.
Nick's
place
Crispy
is-
Tacos.
No, in Underdogs.
I want to say yes. I'll do some research.
Okay, that place is good.
It's a sports bar too,
It's a
right?
sports bar,
Yeah. My best friend used to live across the street. We go all the time.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we could talk about video games as well.
All right.
Davis from Syracuse, New York. In recent years, there has been an unfortunate trend of games from established AAA franchises having sequels that range from disappointing to being so bad they nearly kill a franchise altogether. I understand that there are a lot of complicated reasons for why a bad game can end up on store shelves, such as mismanagement of studio resources, development budget cuts, pressure from a major publisher to meet deadlines, just to name a few. Unfortunately, due to NDAs and potential legal repercussions, we don't often get an opportunity to hear directly from the developers themselves about what caused a game to ship in the condition that it did. My question is, if you had an opportunity to have a candid roundtable discussion with the developers of any bad game, AAA or otherwise, to hear their side of the story about what happened during a game development, or during a game's development, what game would you choose to discuss? I think there are a lot of well-meaning people who work really hard on games who aren't completely at fault for why a game ships in a broken or unfinished state, and I think it would be enlightening to hear what they have to say.
I think recent games, the one that comes to mind to me is Artifact.
Okay, sure.
That one's a big deal for me in a lot of reasons because A, it's the first game that Valve put out in a really long time.
Yeah.
You would get like Richard Garfield there in the mix.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people would have a lot of things to say about that game.
Especially what happened with it post-release.
Yeah.
Like, that they basically have almost started pretending it doesn't exist
Yeah.
at this point.
Are they doing that
Mm.
because they're going to revamp it?
Yeah, they put out a statement a while back
Okay.
because like nobody was playing the game. I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw that its concurrent players on Steam was like
Double-digit at
barely
one
barely
point.
triple digits. They flat out said like, yeah, we're going to rework this game. We're
Okay.
going to make it better. But that was a long time ago, and they haven't said anything since.
Yeah. They've been focused on Underlords.
Yes, and people who were on that team are now working on Underlords. So
Which seems to be a lot more successful.
yeah. So who can say?
What's up with the relationship to? Did they like bring in those guys that made Auto
Like
Chess?
So the original Auto Chess mod people are currently working on Auto Chess Origins, and they're working on making a PC port of that for Epic. but they're their own thing. Valve put out a blog statement saying that they wanted to work with them. They were in talks with them, and that they have each other's blessings and stuff. And they were able to institute stuff like you could buy like back when it still is a Dota mod, but they like enabled you could like give them $1 for these upgraded features, which wasn't in the game before. So like it seemed like a decent relationship. It wasn't like, hey, we're swooping in and trying to steal this thing, which maybe some people could perceive the Riot thing as maybe being a little more along those lines.
Are they making an auto chess?
Oh yeah, it's the most popular auto chess.
Well, that's a surprise.
The most popular of auto chess. I've got a movie actually.
Okay. All right, sure.
Yeah,
I'll allow it.
Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh,
so
interesting.
There was a work print that was leaked, and that work print is vastly different than what the end result. Like even the director's cut is very, very different. Like they made Michael Myers into like a sympathetic kind of character.
In the work print?
In the work print, yeah. For example, like Michael Myers, like he befriended like a worker inside of the insane asylum, but in the theatrical print, they had Michael Myers like ripping out of chains and then murdering that guy for some reason, and I want to ask Rob Zombie if like he leaked the goddamn work print, and the studio made him, completely change a bunch of shit, because it is vastly different, like in tone, in a lot of scenes, just crazy. I want to ask him. Rob, if you're listening.
He's a big fan of the show, I understand.
Yeah.
The Quiet Man.
Okay, sure.
That thought passed my mind.
Duke Nukem Forever.
Okay, sure.
I feel like that would be a lot of just people going.
Which era of Duke Nukem Forever? Because that's
the whole thing.
That's like a 12-year span.
Yeah,
the whole thing. Because
I want to know that story.
Yeah, I think there's the 3D Realms story,
and
then there's the Gearbox story.
Yeah,
because those are two different phases.
Well, all right, Colonial Marines.
Oh boy.
Frankly, I remember seeing the screenshots for the original Colonial Marines back in high school and being blown away and like hoping that game finally did come out. And when it did, it was just so...
Yeah.
There were some problems with that game.
Yeah.
I mean, we know some stuff about that game because there was a lawsuit filed and some of it was like entered into evidence or whatever.
Entered in as evidence.
I don't think this rises to the level of badness that he's asking about here, but I kind of want to say Mass Effect 3 because people were so fucking mad about the way that game turned out, and I would just love to know who made which decisions about the ending.
Sure.
And like, there's just so much. There were so many like anonymous forum posts and like scuttlebutt floating around in the months after that game came out, like blaming specific people on the staff for specific aspects of the ending and stuff like that. And I would really love to know like the truth of like who actually wrote what and who actually like insisted that it go out the way it did.
Right.
Without that veil of like uncertainty, of like, I don't know who actually wrote this forum post. This could be bullshit. This could be somebody with an axe to grind. Like, who knows?
I mean, Andromeda.
Yeah, well, so Andromeda and Anthem are weird because Kotaku did those big exposés on those games, so we've got like some fuzzy picture of what happened there.
I find those really interesting reads.
Yes, those are cathartic in a way.
Yeah.
When you look forward to a game and it doesn't pan out, like to at least find out what happened is kind of nice.
Did Dayak ever, come out like in defense of Too Human?
No.
Something I would love to hear, and the game's not even out yet. We don't know how it's going to be, but I'm sure there's going to be a million stories that we'll never hear about what it is like to work on the Avengers game right now. Because like working with Marvel and Disney presumably has to have a lot of interesting restrictions and stuff, and like like the process of redesigning the characters and all that, I'm sure is just
actor licensing.
And just like where what villains they could have, all I'm sure it was down to a T, and just.
I thought you were going to say Star Citizen. And that, I think,
well, that's never coming out.
Did you bought in, right? Didn't you? Did you buy like $20 pack or something?
I think so.
Like,
I got like a starter ship or something.
enough to like play the alpha or something like that.
Yeah. Didn't Vinny and I do a video of that?
Probably. I'm gonna say probably.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
It's still a weird thing.
The last footage I saw floating around like a month ago looked surprisingly good.
Really?
Yeah.
I just
Enough to make me wonder if we're going to get to the point where we have to put our feet in our mouths and say this game's cool and not this thing is a scam.
I don't know. I always felt weird about the CryEngine part of it, because I never felt like I have this really weird thing. It's the CryEngine games and the Battlefield games on PC always felt like they were laggy to me. Like for some reason the feel of those games never felt right. And with a game like this, I feel like it needs to be very, very precise.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it always what little I've played of it just feels very sluggish and weird.
I want to say, didn't they switch to Amazon Lumberyard at some point? I mean, that's still that's still CryEngine based, so that's not a huge change on that end. But I think that might be the case.
Okay.
That'll probably come out someday.
I think something will be available for purchase.
Some product.
Bold statement.
Yeah.
I guess
You could buy
currently is, yeah.
buy $1,000 spaceship right now.
Yep. You can get in it, maybe.
Right. Yep.
Look at it.
Danielle from Vancouver. I was talking with my coworkers and the topic of rom-coms came up. We were discussing good rom-coms and I suggested Lost in Translation. To my stupor, all of my coworkers told me that Lost in Translation is not a rom-com. Now, you guys are knowers of all things, and I wanted to ask you the most important question. Is it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
think I can.
It is a drama with some comedy,
Yeah.
some funny moments.
Yeah.
some light moments.
But I think a rom-com, okay, by nature, a rom-com has to have like 3 out of the 4 of these.
All right.
Predictable story,
Okay.
like either actor independently has to be incredibly attractive, and nothing against like Bill Murray, like he's a handsome man, but he's not like a traditional like male romance lead kind of guy.
There's also the like kind of mild creep factor of like, this guy is old enough to be her dad. What is going
which
on
is
here?
part of the movie. You know, it's like an integral, like
like you're not necessarily rooting for it to work out.
I was gonna say can't have any themes like
Nothing that touches on the genuine human experience.
and then fun soundtrack
Okay.
is the
Fun
fourth
soundtrack.
pillar.
I would also say that a lighthearted tone is a requirement. And I wouldn't call that a lighthearted movie.
Like it can have dramatic beats, like somebody will almost leave the other person at some point. They will almost not end up together, and then they will end up together.
Protagonist and best friend will have an explosive falling out.
Sure.
A grandparent has to be present
Oh
of
yeah.
either party.
Okay.
What's your guys? What's the best rom-com?
Oh, God.
I don't know, man.
I have no idea.
I don't know if this counts because it's a parody, but They Came Together. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
I really like that movie.
Yeah, that movie's great.
Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler, directed by the guy who did Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah, David Wayne.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
According to this extremely scientific Wikipedia page, list of romantic comedy films, the first rom-com was made in 1912.
What was it called?
All for a Girl.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, perfect.
I choose that one.
Oh, there's a lot of these.
Is
is it on there?
yeah.
It is not.
It is not.
Ha.
Wow. The internet has spoken.
I really like The Wedding Planner. I don't know why, but I saw it at like a certain age where I was like, this is such a fun movie. It was just fun.
I enjoyed Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Where Taylor Swift and Taylor Lautner could have gone together. That big teddy bear. Oh man. Ashton Kutcher delivering flowers. Wow.
I don't.
Is Forgetting Sarah Marshall a rom-com?
Probably.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
one's good.
That's good.
There's something about Mary hold up?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sure
I
it's like
don't
all
know. I
those
don't
90s
know.
comedies where
Yeah.
it'll still have funny jokes and then
Right.
it'll have those moments where you're like, oh boy.
I wonder because that was hugely popular. I don't.
I mean, that kicked off the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one just stuck out to me.
I bet there's a
his
good
hair.
there's a good chance there's stuff in that movie that would just make you like grit your teeth and suck in air.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
point,
like the Hangover. Like I rewatched that recently, and
really?
and like the first 5 minutes, Bradley Cooper, award-winning Bradley Cooper,
yeah.
yells
Yeah.
The F
very
word.
offensive
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like, Jesus Christ, this was 2009, and this was
Wow.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 Things I Hate About You is also really good.
Yeah.
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 well, that's just Shakespeare.
Ah.
Let's see.
All those Shakespeare adaptations that they did in the 90s are pretty good.
Except, well, I will defend Romeo plus Juliet,
Oh, never mind.
but no one else likes it.
I like that movie.
Thank you, Jason.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
This next email is entitled "Jan, Please."
Oh no.
It's signed Socrates from New York City, Ireland.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
So
I don't know
Bill
if I
and
can help
Ted
you.
viral marketing.
Jan, can I, the only Yu-Gi-Oh fan in the world, rely on you to play the upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh game on
Yes.
Switch in late August?
Yes.
I think it's on other platforms already, but I only have a Switch heavy. As the resident Pokemon and Kingdom Hearts guy, I figure Yu-Gi-Oh is
Congrats,
in
by
the
the
middle
way.
of that Venn diagram.
Yeah. Don't worry, bro. I got you.
I kind of want to check that out too.
It's a port of an existing Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Yeah.
But Yu-Gi-Oh is that 2016, 2017 anime movie, fantastic. It's really good.
Also, the Game Boy
Kaiba
Advance-
gets so obsessed with wanting to defeat the Pharaoh, he develops an AI that acts exactly like the Pharaoh. This isn't spoilers. This is like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Thank you.
Where he's just so obsessed with wanting to fight Atem, but then like Atem was like, nah, I gotta dip. Bye, Yugi. Bye, Kaiba. Bye, everyone. And then Kaiba is just like, I need to
What?
fight the Pharaoh.
Yugi didn't have Hatem?
No, that's the whole point of this movie.
Holy shit.
It's all about friendship and growth and growing apart and growing together.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, but man,
Is that a rom-com?
you know what? There's an episode that is framed like a rom-com where Taya Gardner went on a date with Atem to Yugi's behest. Because he was like, no, I like Taya. But Pharaoh was like, no.
You ever read those really early Yu-Gi-Oh manga
Yes, it's very
where
messed
he's
up.
like murdering his classmates for being bad at karaoke?
Oh, yeah.
What?
The Shadow Realm was just a metaphor for murder.
Yeah. It was like before they really got into the whole card thing. There have been some really good Yu-Gi-Oh games. The GBA and Game Boy Color ones were like
Totally.
fun.
The DS one that was based off the motorcycle 5Ds, that was great.
Yeah.
Are they card battlers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of very standard, like hit point
Are they
monsters
like-
have attack and defense.
They're like a solitaire style
Well,
maybe?
maybe.
A lot of trap cards. That's a big
Okay.
deal. Activating one's trap
Yes.
cards.
If you play Yu-Gi-Oh, you're usually playing alone anyway.
That's true. I had to play Beyblades by
When was the
myself.
last?
Oh
I'm an only child, all right?
no! Me too.
Okay.
I confiscated some Beyblades. If I still got them, if you want them.
Tight.
When was the last Digimon game?
There's actually one coming out
Oh my god!
called Cyber Sleuth, which I'm mildly interested in.
The internet keeps things around forever.
Digimon.
Digital monsters.
They're actually coming back with a final season of Agumon and Tai's Last Adventures together.
Is that a Moncon?
It's a Moncon, yeah.
You guys are making up words now. This email doesn't play very well on a podcast because it's got a picture, but it's too weird that it came in before we said anything publicly about Drew being on the show.
Okay.
Because it's about Drew.
Subject line, I'm following you.
It's from Nicholas. Drew Scanlon meme 2019 edition. Interesting to see how far his face has traveled. Godspeed, Scanlon. I will just
Scroll down.
Ah,
a little bit.
yes.
I don't know if you're familiar with
Oh.
this permutation of your face.
Yeah, so it's it's my face looking down from above as if the sun or a deity.
Yes, like you're God now.
Yeah.
How do you interpret it then as like a god kind of casting?
I mean, there are
judgment?
rays of sunlight
Mm.
coming from his face. Like I feel like it's the implication is pretty clear.
Yeah.
That's how I view
The,
Drew.
the divine implications are
Mm-hmm.
That was like the first time I saw him.
just in case you thought you were going to get through this podcast without that topic coming up.
There's a lot of permutations.
Yeah?
Yeah. I
Do
mean,
you have
there's a lot of like just simply the meme in different styles. Like there's one that's like the aha take on me video, which is pretty great.
Oh, wow.
I really like that
Oh,
one.
I think I've seen that one.
There's one
that's
that's-
inspired.
There's one that's an anime version. There's one where I'm wearing lipstick.
Okay.
There's one that's just Legos, which is kind of cool.
You save them?
I don't know.
It's not like they're hard to find.
No.
You can just look in the mirror.
That's right. He's got
You
the-
put lipstick on and
he's
look in
got-
the mirror. It's like the same thing.
He's got access to the source material.
Yeah.
There's one. I think someone had to go back and find in the original video. There's a point where I look at the camera, and so now people have used that in conjunction with the meme as well to make like The Office style jokes. Where Jim looks at the camera.
Yep.
Okay, sure.
So
that's not bad.
Oh yeah,
that's not
the
bad.
internet
That's creative.
still being creative.
Have you ever got anybody weirded out that like that was I'm trying to think how to describe it. Like that was a different look for you, like much more sort of fresh faced and like
I've only ever been recognized once.
clean cut, and now like you've got longer hair and a beard, and you're just kind of like more of a world traveling type. do people like? Does that throw anybody off? Or I guess, like you said, people just don't make the connection.
People don't recognize me, but then if I tell them, they go, "Oh," and then they see it.
I see.
They're like, do
That's
the thing,
fun.
and then you
do
just
it.
like blink because
Yeah.
you're talking to somebody.
I've been talking to people that are like, "You just did it."
Are you doing the meme at me?
That's my face. This is how it works.
Yeah, you can't help it. You didn't ask for this.
Congratulations on all the millions that it's made you, by the way.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like I need to take a crash course on Scandinavian languages if I'm going to keep reading emails. Does anybody know how a J is pronounced in Finnish?
Probably like a Y.
Like a
Yeah.
Y? I'm going to say this is from Jarkko.
Okay.
Does that sound right? From
Sure.
Finland?
Yeah.
I'll go with that. If Star Fox was to receive the Breath of the Wild treatment, meaning bringing in elements from other games like Breath of the Wild arguably did from Skyrim, what games would you like them to take influence from?
Tony Hawk.
Whoa. Good lord, man.
Yeah.
StarCraft Adventures.
Okay.
Star Fox Adventures.
So this
we
probably
played,
came from.
Yeah, we played a bunch of N64 games on a stream last week.
Oh, really?
Including like a surprising amount of Star Fox 64,
Yeah.
and then noted that
It's like the last
there
good.
hasn't been a great Star Fox game since then.
I think the thing I mentioned on the stream there was like having a more emphasis on your squad. Like it's a game where you've always had like Slippy and Peppy and Falco there, but they don't really do anything other than just like flying by.
That's just like pre-scripted
So
dialogue.
like Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, so like maybe you could like have like I would like different ships with different stats, or like like I'm leveling up Falco. Maybe it's because I'm playing Fire Emblem and this is like exactly what you can do with characters. But like Falco's now my offensive character, and Slippy, like I gave Slippy support items, and sometimes he'll help me with this.
Slip
and-
them some.
What if it was like a Wing Commander 3 situation where you go back to your mothership between missions and you could walk around and talking to people, hang out
recruit
like
new
Falco's
people,
Falco's
like-
hanging out at the bar all the time. What I'm saying is they should make it live action.
What if it's just Kingdom Hearts?
Okay.
Huh?
I think it already
Explain.
You get Slippy, you get Wolf with you,
You get Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse too. Why not? And then you make your ship like you make a gummy ship.
is. Like a gummy ship.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Come on.
Keep gummy ships out of Star Fox, damn it.
Well, they don't have to be gummies in Star Fox. They could be whatever metal you need, alloys and stuff.
My serious suggestion is to make it more like TIE Fighter, which is like, it's not me just doing the obvious thing of like, of course he said TIE Fighter, but like, like actually put you in the cockpit of the R-Wing and like really build that thing out and like give you all the shit to like the knobs and levers to mess with and like make you feel like you're really in that thing from the inside.
Okay, what about Mass Effect then?
Huh.
Star Fox, but Mass Effect, eh?
Okay.
Eh?
There is like
Didn't we-
there is kind of a dramatic element to the Star Fox
Yeah, 'cause
story.
there's the stuff with your dad and
Yeah.
Like Wolf betrays your father and like
Yeah.
used to be on a squad with him. There is kind of, it's almost like Shakespearean sort of like very drama heavy. Yeah. I like the idea. I like Star Fox 64 was big on branching paths. I like keeping that element somehow. Like I totally think there's room to make a good Star Fox modern take on Star Fox.
Will they make a Star Fox game on the Switch?
I think so.
Think so?
They kind of
Eventually.
have.
What other big ones have they not hit from like those Nintendo games that you want to see?
On the Switch?
Yeah, because like they have a Metroid coming.
Yeah, supposedly. They've done Kirby.
Yeah,
They've done
Done
Yoshi.
Yoshi.
they've done Yoshi.
Um,
They've done Mario. Well, they did a
wonder
Mario Kart port.
yeah, I wonder if they'll do an actual new Mario Kart.
Sounds like people are still buying it.
Oh, they even did Mario Party. Damn it.
Do you have a Donkey Kong?
They ported those Donkey
Oh, the
Kong.
yeah, they
Tropical.
ported Tropical Freeze. I guess they could do a new one of those. I'm trying to think like what are other big Nintendo franchises.
Yeah, I mean, like, if depending on how much life the Switch has left in it, we'll get another Zelda, obviously.
Yeah.
We'll get another Mario, but they're going to have to start giving us something else.
It's kind of weird they came right out of the gate with the 2 big franchises in the first year.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't give anybody, or they didn't give people like something to really like anticipate,
Yeah.
except for more of that.
And Smash.
Yeah, they've kind of hit all the high notes at this point, right?
I could stand another Kid Icarus.
Okay.
Huh.
Mario Golf.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
I bet that'll happen. They did tennis. They do soccer, or are they doing soccer?
I don't know. They're doing the Olympic Games.
Oh, right.
Oh, look, my 15th spam phone call in 2 days.
Man, you get those apps?
I got to get those apps.
Yeah.
I had an app, and I don't know what happened.
Question from Jacob in Wichita. Curious to hear your opinions about Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, more specifically, going from MK1 to MK2 and Street Fighter 1 to Street Fighter 2. Which franchise made the bigger impact in its time? And secondly, which franchise do you believe made the better sequel? I know it's all subject to opinion, but I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I'm maybe a little biased, but yeah, Street Fighter 2, I think, made the biggest impact
Yeah,
to
I
the
mean,
industry for sure.
Street Fighter 2 like defined the modern fighting game, right? Like
Yeah.
there's like no argument there.
Yeah, and
The Dragon Punch motion is to this day.
Fireball, yeah, that's yeah.
Can you
also-
talk just a little bit about what Street Fighter 1 was like?
Street Fighter, it was still a one-on-one fighting game. Like it was almost like
You had like a punch and a kick.
yeah.
It was like, in my memory, it's like simplified almost to the point of being unrecognizable as a fighting game because
Kind of.
there's no characters to pick from. You just play Ryu.
or Ken.
Or right, but like there's
if
only
you're second
one
player.
type of character to
But
play.
they still had, the special motions, like you could do a fireball motion, but they were extremely hard to
They
do.
were
for
so
whatever
hard. You had to
reason.
get the exact input
Yeah.
timings and everything.
Like,
Yeah,
it
so-
feels
so
like-
it was the start of something.
that game was almost inspired by like Kung Fu and some of those
Yes.
old arcade
Yeah,
games,
Kung
the
Fu,
one-on-one type games. Like it was
It also
sorta-
had a special cabinet that had pressure sensitive buttons where the
Oh, yeah,
harder
some
you
of
hit them, the harder your moves would hit.
Jeez.
yeah, like Street Fighter 2 totally like wrote the book on what a fighting game was actually supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Mortal Kombat 1. What was that jump like?
Mortal Kombat 1 did not play especially well.
No,
Like it was very rigid and stiff and
Yeah.
just kind of not very flexible. Like there weren't a lot of like combos you could pull off.
right, and not a lot of secrets. Like
Yeah, and yeah.
2 added a ton of stuff, as far as like characters and secrets and whatnot.
The secrets in 2 were the thing that
Mm-hmm.
also the fact that they launched MK2 unfinished
Oh yeah,
and then they were sending out board revisions every like
Oh, yeah.
month or
There's-
two
yeah,
for like
there's
a year.
30 of those. Yeah.
Like every time you went to the arcade, you would see a new fatality or like babalities and friendships weren't in there at launch. So like a few months after it came out, you started seeing those, and it was
Mhm.
just like, what the fuck else is in this game?
That game had legs.
Stuff just keeps showing up in here.
Mm-hmm.
The fighting was just so much like looser and better. Also,
Yeah, I
like you
think
could actually string moves together and make combos and stuff. Like it was such a vastly better playing game. But like, I mean, come on, like Street Fighter 2 is
They were- they were
as
at the
seminal as it gets.
yeah.
As genres go. Let's see here. Josh from Ottawa.
Ottawa.
When I was a kid, a local video and video game rental store had an anime section. This store clearly had no time to watch the films and did not trust the rating on the back of the films, so they rated them all R because they couldn't tell what was regular anime and what was hentai.
Sometimes they trick you.
They mixed them all together, and they kept them out on their main floor and not in the adult-only section.
That's funny.
They even did this for some anime-related video games. Some R-rated games out there. Have you ever experienced really weird restrictions or rules from a store built off of their own ignorance on a subject? It's kind of a weird question.
Kind of. Street Fighter 4, when it first came out, I had a custom joystick that I had made, and I brought that to a tournament, and they wouldn't allow it because it was different. And then, joysticks weren't as prevalent. When Mad Catz came out with joysticks,
Right.
then they were all over the place. But they were not when Street Fighter
That's right.
4.
Before 4, sticks were not great. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, the early days of 4, I brought my sticker out, and they wouldn't allow it in the tournament. I had to use a pad.
Man, that sucks.
It was, super dumb.
I don't know what you put in that thing.
Yeah.
There might be a bomb in there.
Right.
Turbo button.
Also, when I worked at Blockbuster, I made the push to start an anime section.
Okay.
We didn't have an anime section, but I created it.
Did you actually pull that off?
Yeah.
In the one store?
Yep.
Because
What did
I
you
would
get in there?
I would think like corporate would
I
have
got
to
some
sign
Rama
off on
stuff
that.
in there because I was a big fan, but
Yeah.
also Ninja Scroll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Trigun. God, I mean Akira.
Cowboy
shit like
Bebop?
that. No, that wasn't out yet.
Okay.
But yeah,
Goes in the show.
I saw. So, well, actually, so there's what, a live
Pre-Ghost
action
in the
Cowboy
Shell.
Bebop coming? Is that why people have been
Yes.
talking about it recently?
Yes.
Like I saw some people talking about Cowboy Bebop being classic anime. Like I remember when that was the
Yeah.
new anime.
right.
I was just like, fuck this. I'm out. I don't want to hear about this.
My local video store was really good about like they had the curtain, the 18 plus
Yeah.
curtain, and pretty much all stuff questionable was back there, except I was obsessed with the cover of Heavy Metal. 'Cause it
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
back there for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because it just got like a Viking woman, very
Yep,
scantily
Valkyrie.
clad, like writing something. I can like
Big lizard,
visual. Yes,
pterodactyl.
I can. The box is silver. She's wearing red. Like I can because it was right by the register too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd always see it on like go into the game. It was weird. All the games were like in this big cage you had to go into. This is
weird.
shout out to Bradley Video in Santa Rosa. If Jeff was here, he might have actually been. But yeah, like I'd walk out of the game cage and then just like on my way out, just like
The cage.
Game cage.
I still never seen it.
Oh,
Don't
really?
know what it is, really.
My uncle took me to go see that in the theater. Like I was
Nice.
7.
Cool uncle.
Whoa.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
All right. What other VHS covers do you remember?
Oh man.
Ooh.
Because
Like,
there's a
I-
lot of them that are just burned into my head.
Yeah,
Love her.
same here.
Okay.
Because I think we had it at the daycare I worked at and watched it all the time.
Okay.
A bunch of 80s horror movies that I was too young to
Yes.
rent.
Hellraiser.
Like,
for me.
Hellraiser and like Child's Play.
Oh, yep.
All of the Three Ninjas movies are burned into my memory.
Nice.
Want to, dude. Want to.
Mighty Joe Young.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Don't know why. He's so kind. I
Uh,
just wanted to be friends.
Earth Girls Are Easy.
Yes,
Nice.
sure.
I remember walking by that in the video store going, what is that movie?
Mhm.
Let's see. Let's do a couple more emails. I've got a handful here about deleting save data
Oh yeah,
from last week.
we
Oh,
had
the
a
formatting disc?
Yes.
Or
the
demo.
gamer dad deleted all of his child's Switch
Save
progress by
files.
accident.
He was a bad gamer dad. By his own admission.
Yeah.
I think he wrote back in and said, thanks for reading the email. It made me feel a little bit better. Here's one from Jason. I'm sure you get a ton of emails of people who lost game save stories. Here's my contribution. My babysitter, who was the teenage daughter of a family friend, overwrote all 3 of my save files on Zelda 2 with the names of members of Guns N' Roses. Gone were my 3 saves, replaced with Axel, Slash, and Izzy. No love for Duff.
No love
I had
for
made it
Duff.
all the way to Death Mountain, but still hadn't completed it.
Man.
She saw how upset I was and attempted to comfort me by explaining that she wrote down the names of my save files and that all the data would come back when I put the names back in.
No.
Aw.
It doesn't work that way.
Even at 6, I knew this was not true. I am now 37 and still have never beaten Shadow Link.
Poor
There's still
guy.
time.
Not
The
much.
thing that gets me about that one is there's just so little reward for doing
Yeah, like what?
the only thing you get out of that is seeing those names on the save screen for like 10 seconds
Damn
and you're
it.
like fuck, and then you're done.
Oh, that's rough.
It's tragic. Here's one from Garrett. I had a friend that I went to school with who had the same demo disc corrupt his PS2 memory card. This particular dude had a lot of perfectionist tendencies and had multiple RPG saves that were at 100% completion.
Oh, no.
I was spending the night at his house that day, and my mom ended up having to come back and pick me up because he was so upset over losing his Final Fantasy X save, he was red in the face from screaming and crying.
Wow.
Well over 100 hours with every celestial weapon, extra summons, and pimped out sphere grids just gone. Imagine dodging 200 consecutive lightning bolts and having it all erased.
Like tears in the rain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
That's I understand your friend. Like I don't have that particular quirk where I need to 100% things
Yeah.
and keep the save. Like
Oh,
once
the
I-
Vinny complex.
no, I'm perfect. But like, I totally understand that feeling of like 100%ing something and wanting to just like glance at it every once in a while. That
You
makes
go,
sense. And just be like, oh, all the time, all those good memories
I
of
did that.
me getting frustrated with this stupid system, and to lose it all like that, and not even like on your own, like having somebody else fuck it up is just, it's hurts.
All right, last one from Ruben.
Send flowers to his house, just now, like
Yeah.
in today's.
Ruben says that the discussion reminded him of a story from the mid-90s. My friend's parents were going overseas for a couple weeks, so we had a weekend at his house. We decided to bring our PCs and have a LAN party, drink some beer, and all that fun stuff. After a weekend of gaming debauchery, I decided to partake in the other activity of LAN parties and copy some games. Having set my eye on Transport Tycoon Deluxe, I needed a floppy disk to copy to. I found a spare, but when I put it in my friend's family PC, it already had data on it. I dropped out of Windows 95 and into DOS to format it. The process seemed to be taking a while, so I went back to my computer for another round of Duke Nukem 3D. When I returned, I couldn't find the Transport Tycoon directory, and in fact, on further inspection, I couldn't find any directories.
Yep.
In my hungover, sleep-deprived state, I had formatted the C drive of my friend's family computer, not the A drive. After initial panic, my friend decided maybe tech support could help, so he rang them. After explaining the story, their sage advice was, step 1, shoot your friend. Luckily, he didn't follow it, but I never did get my copy of Transport Tycoon Deluxe.
That's what happens when you try to copy that floppy.
Oh,
Yeah.
right?
You were warned.
Pirate beware. Before you ask the obvious question, yes, there was a warning after typing format C:, and it was in all caps and advised you would lose all your data. But I did what any self-respecting teenager would. I didn't read it and hammered on the Y button until it went away.
Ouch.
I'm not an idiot. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well,
How about...
yes.
Guess what?
I don't know.
You don't know what the question is.
No, that's true.
No.
No?
Yes.
That's all the fun emails. Got a lot of valuable but dry emails, let's say, left. Let's call it. That's it for emails.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it for emails.
Let's finish there.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com.
Oh, cool.
Is where you can send an
I was wondering
email.
about
Thank
that.
you.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've been
You
wondering.
asked me earlier, so I felt like now it was my
Okay.
responsibility to
Got
say
it.
it at the end too.
It's like your catchphrase
Yeah,
now.
that's me.
Drew, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, you got it.
What do you got going on? What's next? The
The
Balkan
Balkans
stuff
will be
that'll be the next thing people see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have a whole lot of footage.
Oh boy.
What are your editing days like? Or weeks?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, is
a
that
lot of
like, are you leaving the house at all, or are you just sitting there in front of the
No.
timeline for?
like a lot of days I don't even eat lunch. I just grab like a bar
Jeez.
because editing is. I'm sure you guys know. Like,
Mhm. You get in a zone.
you get in a zone and you don't want to stop because it's really hard to start up
Forget
again.
what all those little boxes are that you can't read the full label on, right?
Right. Yeah. Or like what happens is you have to become so familiar with the footage that you have that you can start, building a timeline. And if you forget what you have, then
Yeah.
you've got to become familiar with it again.
Right.
So that's why pre-production on like cloth map stuff takes so long, because we film it all and then I have to like watch it all and organize it into videos, and then the editing starts, and then the editing process takes a long time too. So, but now that's all done. I've blocked it out into certain videos, and I'm editing the first one right now.
Very
Yep.
cool. I won't ask when people can look for that because I'm sure that's playing with fire.
Yeah, I don't want to make any promises.
Sure. And then you've
There's
got
plenty
your
of stuff to already check out.
yes, totally.
Yeah,
Got stuff from
youtube.com/clothmap.
previous trips up there. Cool.
Yeah, and watch that Chernobyl show. It is so
I've
good.
had
too
it like
scared.
ready.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so
I think it's
good.
only like 5 episodes or
6, I
something.
think.
6. It's very short.
And listen to the accompanying podcast.
Yeah,
is that the one? Is that the one by the creator, the writer
Yeah.
of the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he basically says, like, episode by episode, here's what was absolutely one-to-one real. Here's what we had to fudge a little bit for the show. And here's a bunch of stuff that is true that we couldn't even fit into the show, but is incredibly amazing. Yeah.
I saw this big grid going around of the headshots of the actors in the show next to their real life counterparts, and
Yeah.
like the likenesses in that show
yeah.
are like mind-blowingly good, like eerie.
There are parts in there where they show, Pripyat that like I thought they had like gone there and shot and like made them. You know how you can make an actor younger?
Yeah.
I thought they had done that with like
Oh, sure.
the city.
Yeah.
Because it looks exactly the same. Like they did such a good job. I would recommend listening to the podcast after you watch the show.
I was going to ask. You shouldn't do like episode podcast.
You
podcast,
could,
like,
but they do stuff like, oh, we'll touch on that on episode 4, and so you
Okay.
kind of know what's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the best miniseries I've ever seen.
after that, I'm sure you saw that Twitter thread that kind of went viral about that show from somebody who grew up in the Soviet Union.
No,
You should. That's what convinced me to watch that show.
Okay.
Was somebody.
it's kind of a microcosm of the Soviet Union.
Right. Like specifically that thread was not about the production design and stuff, which they said was also great, but it was more about how well it represented the sort of like authoritarian like distortion of reality that leads to
Yes.
disasters like that in the first place.
Yes.
And that stuff sounded extremely fascinating.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could probably do a different podcast about this topic, but should watch that show. Speaking of shows,
Oh,
is there a show after the show?
there is.
Oh?
Yeah,
Oh.
we got the Giant Bomb Aftermath coming up not right after, shortly after
Shortly.
this.
I'm
I gotta eat a
always
sandwich.
amazed, how fast you guys just like rush into that show. It's like, they want to like.
Got to keep these live viewers happy.
That's true.
man.
You can't make people just sit there forever.
Yeah.
But you guys really eat lunch in record time. It's impressive.
Not good for me.
No, probably not. Questions need to be answered though.
That's right.
Cool. All right. Well, let's call it a podcast then. We'll
Yeah,
have
man.
some other stuff going on throughout the week, which you can look forward to. We have it all planned out, I swear. I just won't
We do.
sit here and run it down right now. But thanks again, Drew, for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having
Thanks
me.
to everybody for listening, and we'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Giant Bombcast.